buildings of His Excellency International Schools, Nursery, Primary and Secondary Schools from Buari in Abuja. A standing round of applause for them. Thank you for coming. Kindly take your seats. Honorable colleagues, an important announcement. Is to announce the submission of harmonized budget by committees to the Appropriation Committee. It will now take place on or before the 29th of March 2018. Then we have proposing that we're laying the budget finally on the 19th of April 2018. And hopefully we'll be passing the budget on the 24th of April 2018. This is the harmonized calendar with the Senate. The announcer is the Deputy Speaker. If any member has a petition to present to the House, may please rise to do so. Any petition? No petition. Oh, okay. I haven't seen you. Aye.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my name is Plenary. I represent Calabar South Bakassi, Akbawi Federal Constituency, Speaker from Cross River State. I have a petition from some of my constituents who were staff of Adams Petroleum Nigeria Limited. They were laid off since 2014 without paying the entitlement. And all effort by them to get this company to settle the entitlement and prove about it. They are now seeking the intervention of this honorable house so that this Adams Petroleum can rightly pay the entitlement. With due respect, Mr. Speaker, I would like to lay this petition before the House.
Please proceed to lay the petition. Any more petitions? Petition referred to Committee on Public Petitions. We have quite a number of point of orders, some of which are time bad. So I recognize the Chairman, Rules and Business, to move that we suspend our rules to enable us to take more than 2 matters of urgent public importance. Chairman, Rules and Business.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, Mr. Speaker. My dear colleagues, okay, Jeff, I represent the good people of Buruku from Benue State. I rise to move that the House do suspend for the 8th through 3 and 4 to allow the House to take more than 2 matters of urgent public importance. I so move.
Seconder, Honorable Hassan Mwanzo.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my name is Honorable Ismail Amazu Hassan, representing Akko Federal Constituency. I rise to second motion moved by Chairman, Rules and Business. This House do suspend the rules so that
those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Start with Honorable Osai, the point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Osai, Nicholas Osai. I represent the Plenary Federal Constituency of Delta State. Mr. Speaker, I move that Order 8, I come under Order 8, Rule 1, and also to suspend Order 8, Rule 7, to enable me to take this matter today. And the matter is flood, devastate Abi community in Delta State, where flood ravaged the community. Over 200 houses have been blown out. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move.
Honorable Karimi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my colleague. My name is Karimi Sunday. I'm from Kogi State. I represent Yagba West, Yagba East, Papamoro Federal Constituency. I hereby second motion as moved by my colleague.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Seconder to the second limb of the motion that, okay, the rules have been suspended. So you can now move your motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Osai Nicholas Osai. I represent the Plenary constituency of Delta State. Mr. Speaker, distinguished members of this great house. Flood devastate urban communities in Delta State. The House notes the constant perennial flooding recorded over the years in coastal community of Niger Delta that is currently ravaging the entire region. Also note that on Sunday, 18th, 2018, the entire community of Abi in Ndukwa West local government area of Delta State were devastated by flood resulting from heavy downpour of rain. Observe, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, that the havoc wreaked on this community by flood and erosion have caused about 200 households to be without shelter, while hundreds of vulnerable children and women, particularly expectant and nursing mothers, have been greatly traumatized. Disturb my honorable colleagues that since this incident, schools, farmland, health centers, and places of worship are seriously affected and are speedily being submerged on a daily basis. Worried, Mr. Speaker, my distinguished honorable colleagues, that the resultant health hazards and the deplorable conditions of these full-time peasant farmers is so grave and grave, and they are left with no readily available means of livelihood. Acknowledge, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, that the food security, welfare, and shelter of the people will be the primary purpose of governance. Resolve, Mr. Speaker, to direct the Committee on Emergency and Disaster Preparedness to visit the affected community with a view to ascertaining the damages. 2. Mandate National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, in accordance with Section 6 of NEMA Act to quickly provide relief materials to the affected community of affected victim of this community. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Second, Honorable Solomon Marin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues. Engineer Solomon Marin is my name, and I represent the very good people of Mangubo Federal Constituency. I am from the home of peace and tourism, Plateau State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my colleague. I so second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
This is a straightforward motion dealing with an emergency situation, so I'll put the question without debate. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Next point of order is going to come from Honorable Emmanuel Lewu. Emmanuel, please.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I'm Emmanuel Magoyegu. I represent Ida, Igalamela, Odolu, Ofu, and Ibaji Federal Constituency of Kogi State. Mr. Speaker, I rise under Order 8, Rule 4 and 7 respectively, that we suspend all matters to enable me to take this matter.
Okay, the motion is that we consider the matter of herdsmen attack, killing, and destruction of lives and properties in Kogi State and some other states in Nigeria as an urgent matter. The rules is already suspended, so we'll take a seconder to that motion, and if it is agreed to, then you can move your motion immediately. Honorable Nuruddin, second.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Akinwumi Nuruddin Olaitan, representing the people of Ifakoijaye Federal Constituency from the State of Excellence, Lagos State. I rise to second the motion as ably moved by my colleague, Honorable Egu Emmanuel. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Ima, you can now move your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Urgent need for federal government to curb further herdsmen attacks, killings, and destruction of lives and properties in Kogi State and some other states in Nigeria. The House notes that several killings, attacks, rapes on farmers, villagers, community leaders, innocent citizens by armed herdsmen in several parts of the country like Benue, Plateau, Kaduna, Adamawa, Cross River, Delta, Edo, Enugu, Ondo, Ekiti, Kogi State, and many more have become so rampant and alarming, both reported and unreported by the media. The House also notes that there are several attacks by the armed cattle herdsmen within Kogi State in the last 2 weeks, reported and even unreported, variously at Abejukolo, Bagaji Odo, Bagana, Ajokopi, Agbada, Ebije Erapo, Edede, Ojisheke, in Omala local government of Kogi State. Equally at Oganenugu, Agojeju, in the Kina local government of Kogi State, and equally at Basa. So sympathetic still, in morning mood, on the 19th of May 2018, that is last Monday night, the chief of Agbenema, his wife, and 12 others have been killed again. More so, properties razed and destroyed. Aware that 2 trucks of heavily armed herdsmen started last Saturday at Angba in Angba local government and weeks into the bushes to unknown places. Aware that there were several herdsmen attacks at Odolu, Ofu last year in 2017, which lives and properties were lost. The House regrets that the reported death based on the attack in the last 2 weeks at Kogi East is about 32, but several persons are missing, while some have took to their heels for their dear lives, where farmland and properties were destroyed. The House therefore resolved to condemn the recent killing of about 32 persons, while several people injured and some still missing at Abejukolo, Oganenugu, Basa of Omala, Dekina, and Basa local government of Kogi State. Secondly, to all the federal government, through a security apparatus of police, army, Directorate of State Security, Civil Defense, with the headship of IGP, Chief of Army Staff, DGSS, to take proactive actions by mobilizing men to the places of incidents and other routes and spots where crises are usually reported at Kogi State, including Igalamela Odolu, Ofu, and Ibaji, etc. 3. Urge NEMA to, as a matter of urgency, send relief material to affected areas. 4. That a long-term proactive measures and solution be taken by setting up a high-powered ad hoc committee of the House to carry a national review and research work of incessant herdsmen attacks in order to provide a lasting and enduring solution measures for peaceful habitation of citizens, among most especially where cattle rearing are carried out. 5. To observe 1 minute silence in sympathy of the souls lost during the killings. I so move.
Any seconder? Honorable Sunday Karimi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My colleagues, my name is Karimi Sunday. I'm from Kogi State, my federal constituency. I rise to second the motion as moved by my colleague. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. There's a prayer for a minute silence, but I think there's already we have an ad hoc committee in place, so this matter will be referred to additionally to that ad hoc committee. 1 minute prayer will be taken after we're done with other point of orders that may have to do with 1 minute silence as well. Next point of order is from Honorable Mohammed Budaji Kazauri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my highly respected colleagues. My name is Honorable Mohammed Budaji Kazaure, member representing Kazaure, Roni, Gwiwa, Mkwashi, Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, after suspending our rules, I want to use this opportunity to come under urgent matters, public important.
What is the matter on? And you pray that the House consider it urgent. You tell us what is the subject matter of the motion.
The matter is urgent need to address the cases of sporadic shooting by the Nigerian, by the officers, men of the Nigerian Customs Service.
Okay, any seconder? Honorable Babajimi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Babajimi Benson. I represent the very good people of the Ikorodu Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion, ably moved by my very good friend. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Budaji, you can now move your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my highly respected colleagues. I remain Honorable Budaji Kazaure, member representing Kazaure, Roni, Gwiwa, Mkwashi. Mr. Speaker, I am from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, my motion is urgently to address the cases of sporadic shooting by the officers and men of the Nigerian Customs Service. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Move the motion, Honorable Budaji.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, the House notes that in the recent times, men and officers of the Nigerian Customs Service were engaged in sporadic shooting that lead to the deaths of many people across the state of Katsina, Jigawa, Kano, Kaduna, Sokoto, and others. The House aware that the officers of the custom at Kwanari checking point in Gwiwa local government of Jigawa State on the 26th of January, they went to Kano on operation. Unfortunately, they shot one of my constituents, Zubair Mukhtar, and run away. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker,
just read the motion first. We are not debating it. Just read the body of your motion, then they will be recognized to debate it.
Worried, the action of the officers and the men of the Customs Service threatening the security as well as the welfare of the people within the affected state. Affirm that this action is one many among the service of the intimidating activities of the custom officers, desirous of the need to check the recurrence of the urgent, ugly incident. Resolved to mandate the Committee on Custom and Police to investigate the incident with a view to identify the culprit and bring them to book and to report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Honorable Suru.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My name is Honorable Abdullah Hassan Suru. I represent Bagudo Suru Federal Constituency. I'm from Kebbi State. I raise, Mr. Speaker, to second the motion moved by my colleague, Honorable Kazauri. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Budaji, 2 minutes to lead the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Budaji Kazauri, representing Kazauri Roni Gwiwa Mkwashi, Federal Constituency from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, this government was elected by the masses of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the important and the first things that we have to observe is government is
to protect the life and the properties of the citizen. But unfortunately, the Nigerian Customs Service, Mr. Speaker, some of the times they go out of control because they shoot people and run away, which even now, Mr. Speaker, some of the officers are in the police cell. They was arrested in Katsina and Jigawa, which they are now under police custody. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, on the 26th of January, one Zubair Mukhtar from my constituency in Mkwashi local government, he traveled to Kano. He stopped by Region Lemo inside the Kano city, but unfortunately, one team of Nigerian Custom under the CG Task Force Committee, led by one OC Ibrahim. The OC patrol of the team 1 Adamu stopped his car by the roadside and shot that Zubairu while he stopped to buy fuel on the roadside, and they ran away. One day later, in the same in my constituency, Mr. Speaker, they shot one Alhaji Faruku on his way coming to Kazaure. They shot him and they ran away too, and he died. The same one day later, they shoot one Alhaji Umaru Babambitin inside the Papra city, which they intend to run away, but police arrested them and took them to the CID in Jigawa State Command. Mr. Speaker, I want the House to remind that this issue of illegal killings of people, Mr. Speaker, is the thing that leads what is happening in this country today. We can remember that in Borno, police officers shot people, which lead to those people to become terrorists, which now we are fighting for them in this country. Unfortunately, in Papura local government, people take arms and come out and intend to kill the custom officers. They ban all the custom checkpoint and the office and their patrol vehicles. The officers run away until our state governor send the security, military and police to calm the situation. So if we allow these things to continue, Mr. Speaker, it will lead us to anarchy. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, those people that I mentioned, they are innocent. They're supposed to be, if they committed something wrong, they're supposed to be arrested and take them to justice. But unfortunately, the officers used to shoot them aside and run away. Why run away? When you killed and run away. So we have to, if a person can kill somebody and run away, we have to declare that person terrorist. Because this government is the government of President General Muhammad Buhari, that he is always trying to make good to people. And we are elected by that people. But unfortunately, if we allow those people to continue killing innocent people, Mr. Speaker, this thing, we don't know where this thing will, the result will be. So, Mr. Speaker, I want this House to invite the Controller General of Customs before the floor of the House to ask him, is he the one give them directive to shoot innocent people and run away, so that we can know that if he is the one directed them. And we want the House to investigate this issue and to make sure those people that have been killed was been paid compensation to the family, and the custom to delegate these people to the family, or to condole to the family, because I can see my constituents, they are, Mr. Speaker, they are angry, too much angry, because one day they kill, another day they kill, another day they kill. So gradually they would kill all my constituents with the speaker. And unfortunately when they kill, they run away. So if they can kill and run away, how can we call this issue? Mr. Speaker, they are directed to, if they see somebody committed something wrong, they can arrest him and bring him back to justice. But now they are the justice. They are the court. They even decide to kill. So what I implore Mr. Speaker, since my constituent in Abra, they start banning the officers and the checkpoint and the officers. So we don't know what will happen next tomorrow, because my constituents are always in meeting. Every day they are on meeting. So we want this house, Mr. Speaker, to interfere in many places. Even in Sokoto, day before yesterday, I can see in the social media, customs, they kill somebody, they run away. So if we allow this thing to continue, Mr. Speaker, those people, they are the one elected us. And if we continue keeping silent, we are going back to meet them. They will say, when we have been killed, you do nothing. So we will not elect you again. So, Mr. Speaker, we have to be serious in this issue. And I can see many times Senate invited the Controller General, he rejected. This time around, he must come. He must come to this house, because it's the issue of killing. Killing. It's not the issue of uniform. If they say he must wear a uniform, this is not the issue of uniform. It's the issue of killing. Killing. If we cannot afford to hold this custom, let we advise the president to take him to Borno to advise the soldiers, because I can see he can perform better there. He can perform better there because he's a good experienced officer. So, Mr. Speaker, seriously, this issue, we have to force the Controller General of Customs to appear before the floor of the House. And Mr. Speaker, these officers that are arrested under the police custody, we are supposed to punish them under Section 224 of the Penal Code. Because that is what we're supposed to do. And Mr. Speaker, arrest my case. Mr. Speaker, this is very important. And I want to use this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to thank the government, to thank the president for releasing the Dapchikels today morning. And this is a very great news to the president, and I praise the president. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Tell us to cooperate.
Is this section 220 or 220? Yes, sir.
So the Dapchikel, they are released? They are released.
No, they said it's Mr. President that released them.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I'm Hassan Saleh. I'm from Ado, Ogbadibo, Okufera constituency. Speaker, I'm from Benue. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the motion that has ably been moved by our dear colleague, the very ranking Gudaji. Mr. Speaker, I think the importance of this motion, we should forget about the vehicle that is carrying the goods. Yes. What is the content of that vehicle? If they advertise the sale of a beverage in the bottle, they'll say the price costs 30 naira, liquid content only. So they don't mind the bottle. The most important thing here, sir, is he has made a clear point. There has been extrajudicial killings by men of the Nigerian customs. And of course, his motion suggests to me and to us that it's an investigative motion. If men of the security agencies that are supposed to protect and guide or to protect the citizens and properties of Nigeria are going about
killing and maiming them, then where would they be running to? So I think this matter is important and urgent. I think it is important for us to support this motion so that his prayers, maybe, if anyone suggests an amendment, it's okay. But the body of the motion is important, and I think we should support it. I so contribute, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Jerry Alaboso.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and my colleagues. Honorable Speaker, just yesterday, Honorable Kazere, sorry, I'm from Imo State, representing our Lord Honorable Federal Constituency. Just yesterday, Kazere was in a very painful mood because of his colleague, friend, and our colleague who died on Saturday. So you can understand and appreciate him moving a motion today against some of his friends. That underscores the seriousness of the motion. That must take this cautionary motion very seriously. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Kazere did not tell us whether the custom officers shot in defense or whether they shot smugglers. But the important message there is that they shot his constituents, who are people who usually vote for us. So we must agree with him that this investigative motion should be looked into seriously. Whether the Controller General is going to come here the way it goes to Senate is a different ballgame. But the important thing is that these custom officers were shooting indiscriminately to people, defenseless civilians who are not smugglers. So, Mr. Speaker, we must take the message very seriously and have a tangential relationship with the messenger, who is also a very serious contributor in these chambers. So I rise to second, to support that this shooting must be investigated. But whether we are going to invite the Controller General, who will soon be sent to Bonifort to invite the soldiers, is what I don't know. So, Mr. Speaker, I hereby second and support that this motion be investigated thoroughly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, as to inviting the Controller General, it's not part of the prayers of the motion. I think he was just expanding his arguments. Honorable Alaboso, by killing in self-defense, I understand that, but killing smugglers, is there any law in this land that authorizes anyone to kill smugglers? I have not seen any. I know of none yet. So I'll put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it. And the only prayer to the motion that we have taken is to mandate the Committee on Customs and Police Affairs to investigate the incidents with a view to identifying the culprits and bringing them to book and to report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action. That's the only prayer we have taken. There's no prayer saying we should invite anyone before the floor of the House. Next will be Honorable Nasir Sulegaro. Not here. Sajos.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My highly esteemed colleagues, I'm Sejus Ogun. I represent East and Southeast, East and Northeast, and I'm from Edo State. Mr. Speaker, I come under 8 Rule 4 to urge the House to set aside the rules to enable me to take this matter that is very, very urgent. With the title so urgent that you need to stop the killings and attacks of herdsmen in Ukoha community in East and Northeast, East and Southeast Federal Constituency, Edo State. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Seconder, Honorable John Bull Shekaro.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is John Bull Shekaro from Plateau State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleague,
I rise to second the first leg of the motion, heavily moved by my friend, Honorable Sagius. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Sagius, please move your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The urgent need to stop the killings/attacks of herdsmen in Ugboha community in Esan Northeast, Esan Southeast, Federal Constituency, Edo State. The House is informed about the wanton killing and attack on innocent persons by suspected herdsmen in Ugboha, Esan Southeast local government area of Edo State, in which 3 persons were gruesomely murdered and some others severely injured on Friday, 16th March 2018. The House is also informed that the incessant attack of herdsmen on Ugboha residents has led to the killing of innocent Ugboha community dwellers in the past. The House is worried at the apparent inability of the existing security apparatus to safeguard lives and properties in Ugboha and curb the rising tide of insecurity and herdsmen attack in this region. The House is cognizant of the fact that the protection and security of lives and property is the duty of the federal government pursuant to provision of Section 14(2)(b) of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. Cap C23 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004. The House is disturbed that unless urgent measures are taken to nip this ugly trend in the bud, this rate of herdsmen attack and wanton killings will continue unabated. The House then resolves to 1. Urge the federal government to direct all relevant security agencies to deploy security personnel to the affected area to forestall breakdown of law and order and bring the perpetrators of this dastardly act to justice. 2. Mandate the House Committee on Public Safety and Intelligence to ensure compliance and report back to the House in 2 weeks for further legislative action. Mr. Speaker, my highly esteemed colleagues, I so move.
Any seconder? Honorable Kaide.
Order, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Kayode Oladile. I represent...
Honorable Hassan, please.
You are not federal constituency. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I'm from Ogun State. I rise to second the motion as ably moved by Honorable Sagius. I so second. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Last but not the least of the urgent matters of public importance, it's a matter from Honorable Mrs. Ayo Omidra.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Ayo Omidiro, member representing the people of Ayedade, Irewole, Ishoko Federal Constituency, and from the state of Osun. I rise to move a motion on the need to intervene on the exclusion of qualified table tennis players from participating at the 2018 Commonwealth Games. Mr. Speaker.
So you tell us why it's urgent and whether the House will accept that it's urgent. If that decision is taken, then we can move the motion.
It's very, very urgent because the competition is coming up from 4th to 15th of April and registration is ending next week, Tuesday, Mr. Speaker. If we don't do something now, these ladies will not be able to participate because registration will close.
Okay, seconder to the motion that the matter is urgent. Honorable Fomera.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Israel Ajibola Famrewa is my name, member representing Takumosa East and West, Elisha East and West. I rise to second the motion as moved by my sister that the subject is important that we should take it down. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Ayo, you can now move your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues. The motion is on need to intervene on the exclusion of qualified national table tennis players, female, from participating at the 2018 Commonwealth Games. The House notes that the Commonwealth Games will be staged at Gold Coast, Australia from 4th to 15th of April 2018. The House is aware that Nigeria, as a Commonwealth country, will participate at the Games. Further aware that table tennis is one of the 10 sports approved by the Ministry of Sports and Youth Development for Nigerian athletes to compete at the Games. Concerned that the Table Tennis Federation presented the names of only male players for participation at the Games,
please.
thereby foreclosing the participation of national female table players. Aware that there are qualified and highly ranked national female table tennis players in Nigeria. In fact, second and third ranked in Africa are Nigerians. Worried that exclusion of the national female table tennis players is a clear case of gender marginalization and discrimination. Therefore, resolve to 1. Condemn the deliberate marginalization of the national female table tennis players by the Nigeria Table Tennis Federation and the Ministry of Sports and Youth Development. 2. Request the Nigeria Table Tennis Federation and the Ministry of Sports and Youth Development to immediately add names of at least 2 qualified female table tennis players to the list of athletes representing the country at the 2018 Commonwealth Games. 3. Mandate the House Committee on Legislative Compliance to take up the case, ensure compliance, and report back to the House within 1 week. I so move, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues.
Seconder, Honorable Nasiru.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I am Nasiru Sani Zangondora. I represent Zango Baure Federal Constituency. I am from Katsina State. I rise to second the motion as ably moved by my sister here. I so second.
Okay, Honorable Hamidran, 2 minutes to argue a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The motion is straightforward and I do not want to waste the time of the House. I first want us to cast our mind back to the 8th of March, wherein members of this House spoke glowingly about women, the role of women, how women are supposed to be encouraged, how women help to develop the nation, the home. So how come in this same month of Mother's Day, Women's Day, and having just come back from a United Nations organized Commission on Status of Women, where a lot of women issues were discussed, only to come out and see that qualified, ready players are not allowed to represent Nigeria at the Commonwealth Games simply because they are women. Somebody somewhere believes that they are not worthy. I find it really, really annoying and surprising that at this time, 2018, not the dark ages, somebody will blatantly, just because they can, ensure that gender is brought to such disrepute. When I read about it, I actually thought it was a joke. But then I made my findings and realized that there is no other reason than the assumption that the women will not be able to get medals. This is sports. In sports, we go to compete believing that we will win. There is nobody that is assured of a medal before going for a competition. Recently, the fastest man in the world at that time, Usain Bolt, even had a muscle pull at his last race and could not get a medal for a competition that he was ranked the best in the world. So there is no excuse for the Nigerian Table Tennis Federation and the Ministry of Sports and Youth Development for excluding this set of players. As we speak, many of these girls, they go out to prepare for these competitions on their own. They spend their money. One of such,
silence please, silence please.
Is competing
order, honorable
right
members,
now
please.
In Austria, just because she wants to be ready at any time to represent Nigeria. How can Nigeria now disallow highly ranked players when those who are less ranked from other African countries that are in the Commonwealth will now go for these games? I think it is something that we need to take up very, very seriously and put a stop at it. Any other form of discrimination is going to be resisted no matter where it is happening. I urge you, my honorable colleagues, to please rise in support of these patriotic Nigerian ladies. Allow them to go there and show the world what they really can do as Nigerians. I so beg my honorable colleagues.
Okay, I'll put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable members, first business of the day is presentation of 20 bills. Clerk is now invited to read the short titles. Sorry, Clerk, there's a point of order on the floor. Point of order from Abiente.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, my distinguished colleagues. I come under Order 8, Rule 5. Order 8, Rule 5. Mr. Speaker, it's quite unfortunate. I watched one of our colleagues on Politics Today, yesterday, the 20th day of March 2018, on Channels Television. And some of the comments that emanated therefrom tended to degrade my person as being part of the House that took a decision without following its own laid down rules and requirements. Mr. Speaker, in order not to preempt whatever it is, I would want this House to probably find out from our colleague that was on that program, Honorable E.J. Agboenima, if the content of what he said were exactly what I heard or they were different. Mr. Speaker, that is where my concern stems from. Thank you so much.
Chairman Roos.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Okay, Jeff. I represent the good people of Buruku from Benue State. Actually, the order under which Honorable Abiante comes is talking about personal explanation. I thought this kind of issue should come under
It's a matter of privilege. It's privilege.
Sorry?
Privilege, not personal explanation.
The order he has cited is talking about personal explanation. Sorry? So, if it was properly done, then well, if it's properly done, yes, Honorable.
It's a matter of privilege. If somebody impugns the integrity of an institution you belong to, that's impugning on your privilege. So it's not personal explanation at all. That was how I understood it. So maybe it's the wrong order he has cited. I will put him on the right order. Honorable Abunda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Uzoman Kimabonta is my name. Mr. Speaker, going by the privilege raised by a colleague, I think and believe that Parliament works in harmony. Our rules forbid minority reports, but will incorporate dissenting voices. Casting aspersion on the collective work of the House may go a long way to reduce the integrity of the House. I may argue against a motion or a bill, but should the House not resolve, it was done by the House. Therefore, members in commenting most of the derogatory things about what the House did, I think is uncalled for. We must be very, very careful in how, when we are addressing the press, when we're talking on television, more so on critical national issues as done by the Parliament. If the issue he raised is anything to go by, it means that the House did not work in tandem with our rules and regulations. What does he mean by not following due procedure or due process? There's a window for him to come here and ask for a rescission for any reason if he thinks otherwise. I do not think from any imagination that going to television would have been the best place to address that issue. Reasons why we have ethics and privilege, Mr. Honorable Osai, is for matters like this. We should guide our utterances. Mr. Speaker, not too long ago, perhaps 2 years, thank God our friend had tendered the apology and returned. From what he did, he complained of, and what our revered SYL appropriation chairman did, where lies the difference? I mean, if one had done this and would set up a precedent to do this, then this matter also should be subjected to ethics and privilege for them to look at it and see. Therefore, I want to, in supporting the observations and the views he raised, that the matter be referred quickly to Honorable Osai's committee to look at it. We must exercise caution, we must exercise discipline, we must, otherwise one day, Mr. Speaker, I will go outside here and get one cameraman and say, Mr. Speaker, the governor did not do this or did that and that. We must act in one accord, in one spirit, to protect the integrity of the Parliament. Otherwise, we will be in trouble. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Atungwa, you're right, Honorable Atungwa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Razak Atungwa, representing ASA, Ilorin West Federal Constituency Chorus. Mr. Speaker, I simply rise to make 1 or 2 quick points, and I shan't detain the House long. Firstly, I listened to the motion as moved by my honourable friend. I dare say that he didn't put flesh on the boat. He needed to have created more substance. What is it precisely is complaining of that infringes upon the privileges of this House. That needs to be established as a matter of fact and law. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, if what is complained of amounts to a breach of privilege, which is Order 6, Rule 6, Paragraph 1 in particular, then that matter, of course, lays within the powers of Mr. Speaker to refer it to ethics and privileges, to investigate precisely why is it the person said what he said, and if it breaches our laws. So there are two components, Mr. Speaker. The person making the allegation ought to substantiate the allegation. Having substantiated it, Mr. Speaker then has powers to refer it to ethics and privileges. We must be careful. Whilst I agree with Honorable Abonta, we must be careful about our utterances. But there is freedom of speech, but it's limited to the conduct which you must display as an honorable member of this House. You may disagree with the decision we've taken, but what you can't do is to question the veracity and the appropriateness of how we reach that decision. Those are my submissions, Mr. Speaker.
Danasuko.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My distinguished colleagues, Mr. Speaker, I watched the program this morning and it's appalling to say just in very few words that a member of this Green Chamber can go out and desecrate the institution that stands, the only thing we have that stands to represent democracy. We have a process, and the process clearly states how you disagree, because it's known that majority will have their way and minority will have their say. If I can remember, I did not see that member walk out of this chamber when that debate and proceedings were. We were all here. He did not even make any, so it amounts to afterthought. And there's a precedent that has been set here, an injurious precedent, which the former chairman of appropriation has just come out from a punishable sabbatical in this House. Mr. Speaker, this House under your leadership cannot tolerate such kind of indiscipline, such kind of legislative rascality. We should be able to do things the way that Nigerians will look at this institution as an institution that is growing and developing every day. Mr. Speaker, we will not accept it. Our constituents will not accept it. Electoral matter is a process and it's ongoing. Our constituents, when we go home, we stand proud and tall that for once there is an independence between the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature. And we will not circumvent any inch of our powers to any of the other institutions. So, Mr. Speaker, I am a member of this House. I will protect this institution, even with my blood, because I was elected for that purpose. Mr. Speaker, let this House do the needful. That member should go on the same process, that somebody else has just resumed in this House. Thank you very much.
Well, honorable colleagues, I don't think it serves any useful purpose for us to belabor this issue, really, except there's something new we want to say. I recognize two more and close, Jerry and Honorable Zachary Orano.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My colleagues, Mr. Speaker, I've always referred our colleagues to section 2 of our prayers here, that God should give us the grace to do only those things that promote the unity of this country. And it applies to these chambers. We should always be involved in anything that can promote the unity and integrity of this place. Mr. Speaker, history unites yesterday, today, and tomorrow. It took us time to come to this level. So we must not allow verbal diarrhea to dislodge us. So I suggest, Mr. Speaker, that we refer this matter to the appropriate place, ages and privilege to handle, so that we don't dabble into the type of mistake we made before. So I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Zachary, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I align myself with the sentiments of my colleagues. I'm Zachary Mohammed, I'm a federal constituency, Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kwara. Mr. Speaker, for guidance and for records, any decision that is taken on the floor of this House, if it's a resolution, whether you are present or you are absent, you are part of that resolution. Any opinion, because I have a privilege of speaking for this House in the last assembly, and there are some times that I speak the views of the House without necessarily agreeing with it. But that's the resolution of the House. So if you're a member of this House, and this House takes a decision, whether you are absent or present, you are bound by it if the majority goes that way. So we should be guided by that, so that when you are speaking, you are conscious of the fact that you are impugning on our resolution. And that's exactly trying to fight the institution. So we need to be guided even when we grant interviews. It's just my own little advice for our colleagues. The media will definitely want to make news, but it's for you, as an honorable member of this floor, to protect the integrity of this House and to say that when a resolution is reached or the decision is reached in the floor of this House, you are part of it, if it's a majority view.
Well, because of the constitutional right to fair hearing, we know that the honorable member who has been accused of making this statement will have to appear before a committee where he will be heard, just to give him his constitutional right, and that committee can determine what appropriate measures to take regarding to the statement he made. But one thing is, and maybe because it's a fresh week here, this House has thrown out electoral acts upon electoral acts before he became member. And I don't think he can school us on procedure, parliamentary procedure. But whether he has the right to spread his ignorance, that is what I don't know. And the committee will now find out. So the matter is referred to the Committee on Ethics and Privileges. Honorable members, the first business of the day is presentation of 20 bills. The clerk is now invited to read their short titles.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, Environmental Health Officer Registration etc. Act Amendment Bill 2018, first reading. Chartered Institute of Loan and Risk Management of 18, first reading. Federal University Wukari Establishment etc. Bill 2018, first reading. Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2018, first reading. Industrial Development Income Tax Relief Act Amendment Bill 2018, first reading. Intimate Image Protection Bill 2018, first reading. Ajakuta Steel Company Completion Fund Bill 2018, first reading. Public Enterprises Privatization and Commercialization Act Amendment Bill 2018, first reading. Aso Villa Hospital Abuja Establishment Bill 2018, first reading. Federal University of Agriculture Jalingo Establishment Bill 2018, first reading. Federal University of Agriculture Abara Odo Ikiti Establishment Bill 2018, first reading. Federal College of Education Bongan Establishment Bill 2018, first reading. Arbitration and Conciliation Act Repeal and Enactment Bill 2018, first reading.
Second business of the day, honorable colleagues, presentation report of Committee on Federal Roads Maintenance Agency Bill for an Act to amend the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency Act 2002, Chapter F, 38, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to, among other things, restructure the agency and increase its funding, and harmonize the provision of the Act with the Federal Highways Act with respect to the powers of the Minister to grant road concessions contracts and for related matters standing in the name of Honorable Jerry Alaboso. Honorable members will recall the bill was referred to the committee on Tuesday, 29th November 2016. The report is ready for presentation. Honorable Alaboso is now invited to present.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, my colleagues. My name is Jerry Alaboso. I'm from Imo State, representing our laws and Federal Constituency. Honorable Speaker, I rise to present a bill, an act to amend the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, Act 2002, Cap F38, laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 2004, that among other things, restructure the agency and increase its funding and harmonize the provisions of the Act, the Federal Highways Act, with respect to the powers of the Minister to grant roads concessions contracts and further related matters. I so present, Honorable Speaker.
Any seconder? Honorable Isa Hassan Jamari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Isa Hassan Mohammed, representing Jamari Itas Gadau. I'm from Bauchi State. I stand to second the motion moved by Elder. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Alaboso, please proceed and lay the report. Honorable members, the third business of the day's presentation report of committees on power and public procurement on the need to investigate the sale of Power Holding Company of Nigeria, PHCN, non-core assets and scraps, standing in the name of Honorable Daniel Asuko. Honorable members will recall the matters referred to the committee on Tuesday, 21st November 2017. The report is ready for presentation, and Honorable Asuko is now invited to present it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My distinguished colleagues, my name is Honorable Dan Asuko. I represent Akan Kwabi as a federal constituency, and I'm from Cross River State. Mr. Speaker, we have a report today. Report on the need to investigate the sales of power holding company assets and non-core assets and scraps that was referred to us. Mr. Speaker, the report is ready for submission.
Honorable Gadaka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues. I'm Honorable Ismail Ahmed Gadaka, member representing Fika, Fune Federal Constituency for Yobe State. I rise to support the motion heavily moved by Honorable Dan Asuko.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Asuko, please proceed and lay the report. First order of the day, honorable colleagues, commencement of debate in general principles bill for an act to amend the Tertiary Education Trust Funds Act 2011 to provide for additional conditions for accessing of funds for capital projects by beneficiary institutions to embark on their own capital projects instead of relying solely on the fund for capital development, to review some provisions to give the National Assembly certain powers under the Act and subject the annual budget of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund TED Fund to approval of the National Assembly for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, Honorable Mohammed Sani Abdul, Honorable Oke Chinda. Honorable members will recall that the bills were consolidated on Tuesday, 6 March 2018. I now invite Honorable Abbas to move the bill be now read to the court time.
Right, Honorable Speaker, my Honorable colleagues.
Silence, please.
My name
please,
is
Honorable members, please take your seats. Please.
I represent Zaria Federal Constituency. I'm from Kanana State. Honorable Speaker, I rise to move that the bill for an act to amend the Tertiary Education Trust Fund Act 2011 to provide for additional conditions for accessing of funds for capital projects by beneficiary institutions to embark on their own capital projects instead of relying solely on the fund for capital development. Also to review some provisions to give the National Assembly certain powers under the Act and subject the annual budget of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund to the approval of the National Assembly and for related matters. Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues, also move.
Any seconder? Honorable Garbadetti.
Right Honorable Speaker, my distinguished colleagues, I remain Honorable Garbadetti Mohammed. I represent Sabangari Federal Constituency from Kaduna State. I ask to second this motion, this bill for second reading as moved by Honorable Abbas Dajuti. Thank you.
Honorable Abbas, please lead the debate.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues. With your kind permission, I would want to give you some background information concerning this bill. The Tertiary Education Trust Fund was established as an intervention agency under the Tertiary Education Trust Fund Establishment Act in 2011. It is charged with the responsibility for managing, disbursing, and monitoring the education tax to public tertiary institutions in Nigeria. To enable the TED Fund achieve the above objectives, TED Fund Act imposes a 2% education tax on the assessable profit of all registered companies in Nigeria. The Federal Inland Revenue Service is empowered by the Act to assess and collect education tax on its behalf. The fund administers the tax imposed by the Act and disposes the amount to tertiary educational institutions at federal and state levels. It also monitors the projects executed with the funds allocated to the beneficiary institutions. The mandate of the fund as provided in Section 7(1)(a) to (e) of the TED Fund Act 2011 is to administer and disburse the amount in the fund to federal and state tertiary educational institutions, especially for the provision and maintenance of the following items: essential physical educational institutions. Therefore, the objective of this bill is to amend the condition for assessing the fund by beneficiary institutions by providing that federal and state government should finance projects in public tertiary institutions on terms mutually agreed with TED Fund. Evidence of these projects, which are solely financed by federal and state government, should be considered, among others, as basis for attracting TED Fund-owned projects in such institutions or states. This is intended to encourage federal and state governments to prioritize funding of infrastructure in public tertiary institutions. The benefits that this bill stands to provide include, among others, the need to reverse the negative trend in the funding of the infrastructures in public tertiary institutions. A recent empirical study on the funding of infrastructures in public tertiary institutions reveals that since the establishment of TED Fund, both the federal and state governments have abandoned the funding of infrastructures. Over 80% of all the new infrastructural developments in our tertiary education institutions from 2011 to date are solely funded by TED Fund. If this trend continues, it will negate the essence of establishing this particular fund. The fund is an interventionist fund which is designed to complement the efforts of the federal and state governments in the funding of tertiary institutions. The amendment proposed in this bill is therefore to encourage or incentivize the federal government and state governments to resume their natural responsibility of funding the infrastructural developments in the public tertiary institutions. TED Fund as an intervention fund has an existential time limit. The concept of TED Fund was an initiative of the academic staff unions of tertiary institutions. One of the demands of the union was that government should intervene and redress the infrastructural deficits in public tertiary institutions as soon as possible. It was mutually agreed then that the third fund should be established to redress this deficiency, after which it will cease to exist. However, the prevailing situation now, where third fund is the sole financier of infrastructural developments in public tertiary institutions in Nigeria,
John Bull, Honorable John Bull, please take your seat.
Unchecked, may transform from an interventionist agency to a regular government parameter.
Honorable Jerry Olabeso, please.
If
Silence,
it happens, it will negate the essence of the act. Therefore, this amendment is intended to facilitate the infrastructural development of public tertiary institutions by both the government and third fund. Another benefit of the amendment is to promote cooperation between third fund.
Honorable Jerry, please resume your seat. Jerry, that is not your seat. Honorable Jerry, please resume your seat.
Another benefit of the amendment is to promote cooperation between third fund and beneficiary institutions. This means that beneficiary institutions should embark on their own infrastructural projects in consultation with third fund. This gives
Honorable Jerry Olabeso, please go back to your seat. That is not your seat. Honorable Jerry.
Projects embarked on to complement those of the beneficiary institution. This synergy prevents unnecessary duplication of projects. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, my honorable members, so far, this fund has actually served its purpose. However, the success of this fund should not be taken for granted. It is our responsibility as a parliament to continue to position it in such a way that it keeps faith with its own statutory objectives. This bill is one of such intervention that we need to actually intervene. I urge you all to support the passage of this bill. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, my honorable colleagues.
Honorable Dr. Emes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Dr. Mohammed Sani Abdu, Al-Kalerikir Federal Constituency. I'm from Bauchi State. My amendment bill has been consolidated with two others. One from Abbas, which he has presented to the House. My angle for the amendment of this tertiary Education Trust Fund Act is predicated on two grounds. One is the issue of probity, transparency in disbursement of the funds. And the second is the issue of subjecting the recruitment of the principal officers also to the National Assembly, which hitherto remains an all-executive affair. And hereby, I represent the major points. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, this amendment bill is another effort towards improving the standard of education as well as transparency and accountability in the management of public funds in Nigeria. As representative of the people, this is another opportunity for us to protect the interests of Nigerians by ensuring that the standard of education in Nigeria is in line with the best international practice through proper disbursement of funds and adequate checks on the agencies. I am saying adequate checks and balances on the agencies of education, of which that fund is a critical stakeholder. Prudent management of funds is at the heart of good governance all over the world. Mr. Speaker, that fund, as we heard from Abbas, was originally established as Education Trust Fund by Act number 7 of 1993, as amended by Act number 40 of 1998, now repealed with the 2011 Act of Tertiary Education Fund. It is an intervention agency set up to provide supplementary support to all levels of public tertiary institutions with the main objective of using the fund alongside project management for the rehabilitation, restoration, and consolidation of tertiary education in Nigeria. As we have heard earlier also, the source of the fund is an income available to it by the 2% education tax fund from all accessible profits of companies registered in Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, the provision of Section 7.5 of the TED Fund Act makes the President the approving authority, thereby making TED Fund an all-executive affair without input of the National Assembly. Similarly, the manner of appointment of the Executive Secretary in Section 8.1a, which is by the President on the recommendation of the Minister, puts the Executive Secretary in a weak position. So within the first 6 years of the operation of the TED Fund Act, a need has arisen for the amendment of the Act to ensure transparency and accountability in the disbursement of this fund. This is because of the fact that the mismanagement of funds has been identified in the agency, largely due to the gaps in existing legal framework or the Act. On November 3rd, 2016, the Senate ordered the refund of 264 billion allegedly diverted from the TED Fund by the federal government. This followed a revelation of mismanagement of the funds in education sector between 2011 and 2015, when TED Fund allegedly lent to other government departments contrary to the law establishing it. This revelation was made by the Senate Committee on Education, which uncovered the disbursements. As disclosed above, the performance or operation of the fund has been affected by a number of challenges, which has become an impediment to the implementation of the terms of reference and purpose of the fund. Therefore, the amendment here, from my own perspective, is to ensure efficiency and effectiveness of the TED Fund in realizing its objectives for which it was established. So in a nutshell, Mr. Speaker, the Bill 6, that means the amendment bill, which from my side seeks to give the National Assembly some powers under the Act, which hitherto we do not have. B, to make proper accountability of the trust fund by clearly stating modalities for disclosure. 3, to reflect federal character in the appointment of employment in the fund. Mr. Speaker, it is therefore necessary that the TED Fund Act be strengthened to ensure this issue of accountability, judicious disbursement of funds, and in the interest of education sector. The appointment of board members of the trustees, which is the responsibility of the minister and the president, makes the fund susceptible to avoidable weaknesses in the performance.
Order, honorable members, please.
Was unearthed, as I said earlier, by the Education Committee of the Senate when they did their public hearing. And
silence, please.
In the interest of checks and balances, to leave the appointment of the ministers of the board to the president, but subject to confirmation by the Senate, which is not so now. Furthermore, the National Assembly will be able to exercise oversight powers over the fund where it estimates.
Silence, please. Honorable members, please take your seats.
Income and expenditure is laid before the National Assembly.
Honorable Minor, please take your seat.
Finally, I wish to say that the bill amendment from my side is divided into 6 clauses. Clause 1 is the general amendment clause. Clause 2 is to amend section 43B of the Principal Act by subjecting the appointment of the board members of the fund to the confirmation of the National Assembly. That means the Senate, in consultation with the House of Representatives, as we do to the service chiefs of this country. C, clause 3 amends section 7 of the Principal Act by deleting section 5. D, clause 4 amends section 8 of the Principal Act by inserting the requirements of Senate confirmation and the issue of the federal character in employment. E is that clause 5 amends section 9 of the Principal Act by inserting new sections regarding submission of the estimates and expenditure of the income of the fund to the National Assembly for scrutiny. And clause 6 is the citation. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the honorable colleagues, the role of third fund in advancement of education in Nigeria cannot be overemphasized. In view of the failing standard of education, which has been a matter of public outcry and concern, it is the responsibility of this House and of course our brothers in the Senate and sisters to take steps that will reposition the education center in line with the international standard. The point must be noted that amendments proposed to the principal will go a long way in strengthening and repositioning the TED fund for better performance. I therefore call on my very, very responsive and reasonable colleagues in this House to adopt these consolidated bills and pass it with speed of light so that we will have a say in the appointment of the principals of TED fund, their income and expenditure, which is in other words, just like their appropriations should also be subjected to the House, that we have done with the National Communication Commission and all other bodies that bring their say here for scrutiny, and we can be able to oversight their expenditures. And also finally, sir, to make sure that the President will collect this and pass it to us as is in accordance with the financial regulation of Nigeria. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity, and I urge my brothers and sisters to support this amendment bill. Thank you very much. I so propose.
Motion is the bill be now read a second time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Clerks invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to amend the Tertiary Education Trust Fund Act 2011 to provide for additional conditions for accessing of funds for capital projects by beneficiary institutions to embark on their own capital projects instead of relying solely on the fund for capital development, to review some provisions to give the National Assembly certain powers under the Act and subject the annual budget of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund to approval of the National Assembly and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill is referred to Committee on Tertiary Education Services. Honorable colleagues will take two announcements. First is that in commemoration of the World TB Day 2018, all members are expected to sign up to the Barcelona Declaration. This declaration is a network of global TB caucus with more than 2,400 members of parliament from more than 134 different countries. In view of this, the chairman of the House Committee on AIDS, TB, and Malaria Control invites all honorable members of the House of Representatives, to the official launch of the Parliamentary TB Caucus, date 22nd March 2018, venue Conference Room 236, House of Representatives, New Building, time 2 p.m. Please accept the assurances of my highest regards. Announcer Honorable David Emmanuel Umbugadu. Announcement is to inform members of the Committee on Emergency and Disaster Preparedness and all the honorable members of the House that the investigative hearing on violation of public trusts in NEMA is holding at 1 p.m. at Conference Meeting Room 028, House of Representatives Wing. Kindly endeavor to attend. Announcer Honorable Ali Sajesi, Deputy Chairman. Second order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to establish a federal university in Zamfara State to ensure equity and access to tertiary education in the country. The university is a conventional university with restricted programs, limited and focused faculties, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Muazu Lawal. Honorable members who recall the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 28 September 2017. I now invite Honorable Muazu to move the bill be now read second time.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. My name is Honorable Muazu Lawal. I represent Gumi Poko Federal Constituency. I'm from Zamfara State. I move a bill for an act to establish Federal University in Southern State to ensure equity and access to tertiary education in the country. The university is a conventional university with respective programs and limited and focused faculties and related matter. I so move.
Any seconder? Honorable Aminu Ashu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable members. Aminu Ashurmani, member representing Bindamani. I'm from Kasan State. I rise to second the motion. The bill should be read for the second time. Thank you.
Honorable Muazu, please lead the debate.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I remain Honorable Muazu Lawal. I represent Gumi Poko Federal Constituency and from Zamfara State. Right Honorable Speaker, respected colleagues, I humbly request your support to allow me to lead the debate on the general principle of bill for an act to establish the Federal University in South Zamfara State. We report that the bill was read on the first time last year on 28 September 2017 as the floor of this hollow chamber. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, this is a very straightforward and unambiguous bill that seeks to give legal backing to the Federal University Gusau, one of the Federal University established by the federal government in 2013, in line with the national policy on education. The objective of the university shall be to encourage the advancement learning and to hold all persons without distinction, race, creed, sex, or political convention the opportunity to acquire higher liberal education. It also encourage and provide scholarship and conduct research in all fields of learning with emphasis on entrepreneurship and technical skill education. It provides courses of instructions and other facilities for the pursuit of learning in all its branches. It undertakes any other activities at the university deemed fit, provide courses, instructions, and other infrastructure for the pursuit of learning and research in restricted fields. Honorable Speaker, the establishment and composition of the governing council. There is established a governing council for the university, which is referred as council. It includes A, Chancellor, B, Pro-Chancellor, C, Vice-Chancellor, D, 2 Deputy Vice-Chancellors, E, a body to be called congregation, F, a body to be called convocation, G, the campuses and colleges of the university, H, the faculties, schools, and other teaching and research units of the university. If the bill is enacted into law, the university shall, among other things, include A, establish such campuses, colleges, faculties, institutes, schools, extramural department, and other teaching and research units within the university, and may from time to time, since necessary or desirable, subject to approval of the National University Commission. B, the institute professorships, readers, and associate professorships, lectureships, and other posts and offices, and to make appointment here. C, to also institute and award fellowships, scholarship, exhibition, bursary, medals, prize, and other types of distinction, award, and form of assistance. D, to provide for the residence, discipline, and welfare of members of the university.
Order.
E,
please.
Hold examination and award degrees, diplomas, certificates.
Silence, please. Please.
Question, courses of study approved by the university and have satisfied such other requirements as the university may lay down. F, to award honorary degrees, fellowship, or academic titles. G, to demand and receive from any student or any person attending the university with purpose of instructions. Such fees at the university may from time to time determine, subject to approval, subject to overall directives of the appropriate authority. H, subject to section 22 of the Act, to acquire, hold, grant, charge, or otherwise deal with or dispose of movable and immovable properties wherever situated. Mr. Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, in conclusion, it is my conviction that when passed to law, the university can have a legal standing and stand shoulder to shoulder with other conventional universities in the country, and will also be in a position to benefit from tertiary education fund intervention. The need to encourage education cannot be overemphasized in the current situation where federal government diversification drive is in the front burner by the present administration. I plead with my colleagues, please massively support this bill be read for the second time for further legislative action. I so move. Thank you.
So I'll put the question. The question is the bill be now read the second time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish Federal University Gusau, Zamfara State to ensure equity and access to tertiary education in the country. The university is a conventional university with restricted programs and limited and focused faculties, and for related matters. Second reading.
Bills referred to Committee on Tertiary Education Services. Third order of the day, honorable colleagues, commencement of debate on general principles of bill for an act to establish the Federal Capital Territory signage, an advertisement agency as the regulatory body of outdoor structure used for signage and advertisement and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Sajos Ose Ogun. Honorable members will recall the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 19th December 2017. I now invite Honorable Sajos to move that the bill be now read second time.
Mr. Speaker, my highly esteemed colleagues, I'm Sergius Ose Ogun. I represent Eastern Southeast, Eastern Northeast, and I'm from Edo State. I rise to move that a bill for an act to establish the Federal Capital Territory Signage and Advertisement Agency as a regulatory body for outdoor structure used for signage and advertisement and for related matters be read for a second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Henry.
Right, Honorable Speaker, my dear colleagues, I am Honorable Henry Nwawuba, and I represent the enterprising people of Mbitolu, Ikeduru Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion ably moved by Honorable Sergius. I so second.
Honorable Sergius, please lead the debate.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The objective, Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I just read. The objective of the bill seeks, among others, to establish the Federal Capital Territory Signage and Advertisement Agency to serve as an independent regulatory body for outdoor structures used for signage and advertisement, protect the FCT and its environs from the potential adverse impact that may arise from activities connected with signage outdoor advertisements. And then I'll just go to the summary of the bill. The bill has 31 clauses and 5 schedules. And Mr. Speaker, I just quickly also mention the relationship between this bill and the existing law. The bill is consistent with Section 299 of the Constitution and does not in any way conflict with functions of the local government known as area councils in FCT under Section 7 sub 5 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. When read together with paragraph 1K of the 4th schedule of the Constitution, the Federal Capital Territory Signage and Advertisement Agency's function is an environmental matter, as the control and regulation of advertisement is an aspect of physical planning and should be the responsibility of the agency. Here, the agency's function are to protect the environment and prevent indiscriminate erection of advertisement structures. Mr. Speaker, this is a straightforward bill. Abuja is the city that we desire to be one of the best in the world, among the best capital cities of the world, like Washington, London, Paris, even Pretoria. So hence, we believe that things should be done the right way. We do not want a situation where somebody will wake up one day and go and erect a billboard in front of Aso Rock Villa. So basically what this bill speaks to is the need to have a regulatory body to ensure that things are done the right way. So, Mr. Speaker, having said this, I will yield the floor to my colleagues to contribute to this debate. Thank you.
Honorable Henry.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, my dear colleagues. I remain Honorable Henry Nwawuba. I represent the enterprising people of Mbitolu, Ikeduru Federal Constituency of Imo State. Mr. Speaker, let me start by thanking Honorable Sergius for moving this motion. I think it's very timely. It borders on organization, it touches on our environment, and also just to point out to honorable members that this unit or department already does exist. So what he is proposing here is to give it a legal backing. Honorable colleagues, if you cast your mind back to before the advent of perhaps the Minister of the FCT, El-Rufai, we had a proliferation of signages indiscriminately coming up anywhere and anyhow in the FCT. Everybody knows that what is decent is good. I think this bill, if we pass it, it will give us some sense of tidy environment and also curb some of the menaces that we see, particularly with the issue of erection of posters
and handbills on walls and streets and even lampposts. I just want to support this bill and urge honorable members to look upon it favorably and let it pass through. I so submit. Thank you.
Honorable Zapana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Mr. Speaker, my name is Zafanaya Bito Jisalo. I represent Abuja Municipal Bari Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from FCT. Mr. Speaker, I want to speak against the bill. Mr. Speaker, Section 4 of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, function of local government. The issue of signboard is already captured in the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, and you cannot amend Constitution with a bill, Mr. Speaker. This House cannot abet illegality, Mr. Speaker. And I want to say that this bill should not be passed because it's already part of function of a local government, Mr. Speaker. And I speak against the bill because it's part of the function of the area council of the FCT, Mr. Speaker. So for that, I am speaking against the bill, Mr. Speaker, that this bill should not pass because it's already captured, Mr. Speaker, in the Constitution. Honorable colleagues, I want you to go align with me that this bill should go back, or the sponsor of this bill should go back and make his research. It's like it's not cumbersome with the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Aponta.
Mr. Speaker, my name is Uzoma Nkem Abonta. Mr. Speaker, I am from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, I want to speak in favor of this bill. The last speaker had mentioned of Section 4. I think he meant to say Schedule 4, where that the local government is allowed to exercise control over signposts, boards, etc. and so on. Mr. Speaker, the bill is talking about regulatory body to decide what manner of board are you going to put. What size of board are you going to put? Mr. Speaker, today, if you are driving, you will see signposts bigger than these chambers that you cannot even see the traffic on the other side. Mr. Speaker, today, we are talking about morality. One local government decides to put nude picture of naked girls or men. The other may decide not to. So there must be a body with legal background to decide what is doable. There must be, local government will do their bylaws and collect their revenue. If you look at that Schedule 4, specifically they concentrated on the revenue issue agreeing to local government. But this bill seems to set out the modality, the regulation. For example, Mr. Speaker, everybody is entitled to run a football club. Everyone is entitled to do club. But FIFA or a body regulates the manner how you can play football and so on. But anybody can run a football team. Everybody can own one. So let us not be overprotective. The bill is only seeking to have a regulatory framework for sanity, for sanity's sake. The bill covers Abuja as a state, not even as a local government. Therefore, there is no interference in what the function of this bill will do and the existing law. I therefore urge my colleagues, Mr. Speaker, that we should allow this bill at the committee level. The experts will be able to do it. Mr. Speaker, let me also tell you, in Lagos State, this body exists. In Ogun State, this exists. In Rivers State, it exists. In Abia, it exists. And that is why you have uniformity and control in what you do. Particularly in metropolitan areas like Abuja, like Lagos, and so on, you need such a regulatory body before you begin to put posters where it shouldn't be. Therefore, I beg God to say that we must, as a matter of fact, allow this bill to go on. I also want to add that apart from signage and other things, Even noise pollution, where can you put your speaker? Where can you do that? Should I even have been added to it? Therefore, the committee stage will be able to do the needful. Honorable colleagues, I therefore say please allow this bill pass with the speed of light, as society will say, because we need it to avoid environmental issues. If you don't have a regulatory body, you will create environmental issues arising from that. Mr. Speaker, pictures alone can cause us mental disorder. Unplaced body alone can cause mental problems. Therefore, we need sanity. More people are increasing here every day, caused by a lot of problems, so we must begin to define things and regulate things. I therefore support this bill, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Rotimi, and then Honorable Sanizaro will round up the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Dear colleagues, my name is Prince Rotimi Agunsoye, representing Koshopepe constituency of Lagos.
Order, honorable members, please. Honorable members by the entrance, please. Members by the entrance, please come and take your seats. Please. Honorable Benilar.
Mr. Speaker.
Please, Honorable Soba, please.
I rise to speak against this bill, even though my very good friend, Honorable Sagos, is the sponsor of the bill.
Prestige, Honorable Prestige, please.
Mr. Speaker, I was Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs in Lagos between 2007 to 2011. You see, whatever belongs to the local government, we have to tread softly. If we want to do anything as regards this bill, we need to amend the constitution. It is the job of the local government to take care of advertisement, signage, whatever. So we don't need to go too far. My good friend, Honorable Sagos, the truth is that this bill cannot go. Dear colleagues, it is important we do justice. Justice must be done. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Zoro.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I remain Mohammed Sani Zoro. I represent Gumel Gagarawa, Kankarkar and Megatari. I'm from Jigawa State, Mr. Speaker. My dear colleagues, I also concur with the provisions of the first schedule that has outlined the mandates given to local governments and local councils in this particular case, and particularly the provision of Section 8 that talks about control and regulation of outdoor advertising and hoarding. That this is in the realm of local governments as well as local councils. But that has been the case. I believe the position, the bill earlier presented by Honorable Sages is a bill that cannot be ignored. How I wish that those who have opposed the bill were the ones that have initiated this bill. Now, the essence of the bill is to bring about regulation and control of advertising for environmental purposes and other purposes. My dear colleagues, we all can testify to the chaotic nature of advertisements in the FCT. Everywhere you go, you are assaulted by all sorts of advertisements that touch on sensibilities of people. Some of them are so horrifying you wouldn't want to read them again. Now, this is an attempt to regulate and set standards for advertising practice. Now, I'm happy that the last speaker and friend and colleague was local government commissioner in Lagos State. We can all testify to the restoration of sanity that has characterized the Lagos environment in the last decade or so. And I'm happy he will also take the credit, for that level of achievement. In Lagos today, advertisements are not only seen as, revenue, generating resources. No, but they have restored the environment in a manner that Lagos is no longer chaotic. The advertisements that you see are beautiful to the eyes because the regulatory bodies insist that these are the kind of advertisements that should be pinned on Lagos streets, hanged in other places, and including in the media itself. Now, I must also bring to the attention of the House that some of these advertisements merely go to advertise fake products. Fake products in the sense that there are people who claim they are medical practitioners, traditional medical practitioners that can cure everything. And people who are vulnerable normally patronize these hawkers without any justification for their claims. And therefore, I think in the final analysis, we will be able to harmonize these two positions. I want to recommend that the mover of the bill should also engage with the Committee on FCT and area councils in order to harmonize this bill. The bill is not only in the interest of FCT indigents or those who reside in the FCT, but in the interest of Nigeria. There is a need to clean up the FCT, from all these chaotic advertisements that we have. This is my contribution, Mr. Speaker, my dear honorable colleagues. Thank you.
Honorable Hassan, you want to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, Hassan Saleh, representing the very good people of Ado, Obadibo, Okokufera constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Benue. Mr. Speaker, I want to speak against this bill, and I would advise the mover or the sponsor of this bill to reconsider his presentation, because, like as Honorable Jesalo has said, this bill is not in tandem with the Constitution. It is more like, if we refer to Section 4 of the fourth schedule, subsection I, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it is clearly stated, Mr. Speaker, if we refer to Section 4, this function, from what he is saying, this function is going to be removed from the local government, because it is the mandate of the local government to be able to regulate the collection of revenue. I would like to seek your permission, Mr. Speaker, to read it out so that we will be clear on it. Wait. Okay, so, section, the fourth section, fourth schedule, subsection I or J, say the control and regulation of outdoor advertising and hoarding, movement and keeping of pets and all descriptions, shops and kiosks, restaurants, bakeries, licensing, regulation and control of sales of liquor, and a host of others. These are all embedded in the fourth schedule, so which has to do with control and regulation. It is the function, Mr. Speaker, of the local government. Now, if we now decide to go with this bill, it then means that we are removing. It will require a constitutional amendment for us to be able to accommodate what this bill is seeking. So I would want the mover or the sponsor of this bill to look at it critically, if possible, step it down so that it does not suffer any setback. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Honorable Saj, Honorable Aminu Shehu Shagari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Aminu Shehu Shagari, Abu Shagari constituency, Sokoto State. I had wanted to keep silent at first, but seeing the drift of the arguments, I feel I should chip in just to make things clearer. I don't think this bill is offending the Constitution, as it were, because if you look at Part 3, which states the states, there shall be 36 states in Nigeria, that is to say, blah, 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 and of course, if you look at the footnote there, it says states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. That means the Constitution is regarding Abuja as a state, and it shall be so treated. And we are acting as the House of Assembly of that state. Now, this bill is saying what my honorable colleagues are saying is that schedule number 4 is saying that this function of signage and advertisement should be function of local government. The bill is looking at Abuja as a whole, as a state, and not as a local government. So it cannot be offensive to the Constitution with due respect. So I feel the bill is in order as far as the law is concerned. But my grounds with the bill is that we don't have to create so many agencies to do signboard, for goodness sake, and advertisement. They can have a department in FCDA or wherever to take care of this. That's my take on this. I feel the mover of this, the sponsor of this bill should withdraw it for further consultation. Thank you very much.
Honorable Sergius, are you withdrawing it in view of the constitutional issues that have been raised?
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to speak to this bill once again. The essence, our laws, our rules here require that we send in briefs. And I did send in briefs here this morning, but I don't think my colleagues took time to read it. Because I clearly explained the relationship between the existing law and what this bill is trying to do. It's an agency, it's an environmental body to regulate what is being done today. There's an agency, there's a body, there's a department, or there's even not functioning. So what we are saying, we are talking about the sizes of billboard here. Others compose generators, they're disturbing the whole neighborhood. Who is regulating this? We want a world-class federal capital territory, like any other one in the whole world. For me, there's no interest, I'm just doing my job. So if anybody feel aggrieved, too bad. But the point that I'm making here is, if we took time to read what I have said here, there will be no need for this argument. It's not about money collection. It's about the body to regulate how billboard positioning and all will be done. So, Mr. Speaker, if anybody feels aggrieved, we're too bad about it. But like I said, there's no personal interest. I'm just doing my job. Well, Mr. Speaker, I have heard some of my colleagues say maybe we need to sit down with the area councils and then have a discussion. So for that, I will step it down for now.
So why are you wasting our time now? Bill stepped down by leave of the House. Fourth order of the day, honorable colleagues, motion and need to investigate the activities of the Presidential Amnesty Office to ensure accountability and efficiency of the program. Standing in the name of Honorable Abubakar Chika Adamu. Honorable Chika is now invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues. My name is Abubakar Chika Adamu. I represent Shiroro Rafimuya Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I am from Niger State. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, my motion today, Wednesday, 21st of March 2018, is on the need to investigate the activities of the Presidential Amnesty Office to ensure accountability and efficiency of the program. The House, note that President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, GCFR, on 25th of June 2009, proclaimed a 60-day unconditional amnesty period for militants in the Niger Delta as a step toward resolving the protracted insecurity in the region occasioned by militancy, which resulted in huge oil revenue loss to the nation. Also note that the proclamation gave rise to the establishment of the Presidential Amnesty Program Office to institutionalize program to assist in the disarmament, demobilization, rehabilitation, and provision of reintegration assistance to the militants. Aware that the budget of the Presidential Amnesty Program Office, which ranges between 60 and 70 billion naira annually, has been shrouded in secrecy in terms of implementation toward achieving the core objectives of the program. Also aware that on November 1st, 2017, hundreds of agitators stormed the National Assembly to protest the non-payment of their stipends and other allowances, spanning several months by the Presidential Amnesty Program Office, and called on the National Assembly to intervene. Disturbed that allegations of corruption and ineptitude have always bedeviled the amnesty program since its inception, resulting in which hitches in the implementation of the program, especially the non-payment of outstanding allowances to the militants, running into billions of naira. Also disturbed that the non-payment of tuition fees of ex-agitators schooling abroad has resulted in the embassies and schools throwing out the students despite billions of naira being allocated to Qatar for the program annually. Worried that the Presidential Amnesty Program Office has been enmeshed in several allegations.
Silence, please. Silence,
of financial impropriety and other acts that are allegedly detrimental to the objectives of the program, and the ex-agitators are at the receiving end. Further aware that few days ago, President Muhammadu Buhari relieved the coordinator of the Presidential Amnesty Program, Brigadier General Paul Boro, retired of his duties on the heels of allegations of mismanagement of funds by the office under his watch. Again, aware that President Muhammadu Buhari has directed the National Security Advisor to carry out investigation into the activities of the amnesty program from 2015 to date, covering only 3 out of the 9 years existence of the Presidential Amnesty Program. Resolve: mandate the Committee on Niger Delta Ministry to carry out comprehensive probe into the mismanagement of the funds allocated to the office from inception to date, and assess the impact of the program on the ex-agitators. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Seconder, Honorable Brown.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Honorable Randolph Iworene Brown, representing Degama Bonifera constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second this very important and auspicious motion ably moved by my brother, Honorable Chika. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Chika, please lead the debate.
Honorable Zachary Galadima, please, can you resume your seat? Honorable Chidoka, please, can you allow the speaker?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I came out to present this motion out of sheer concern. Mr. Speaker, sometimes we jest our colleagues here when they are complaining about underdevelopment or the problems within the Niger Delta. We do just them by saying, what are you going to complain about? You have amnesty program, you have NDDC. But in reality, Mr. Speaker, since inception of the amnesty program, no evaluation of this program that has ever taken place to know that the people of the Niger Delta, whose program is designed to favor, are having value addition. The truth of the matter is that the program has become a conduit pipe where people are posted into such programs to assist those who are on the other side, who are on the receiving end. But however, those who are in the helm of affairs, at the end of the day, I think favor themselves more than the people the program is designed to favor. In the last 9 years, nobody will come out to tell you that the program has achieved so goals, or these are the milestones achieved by this program. You cannot say today how many doctors, how many engineers, or in totality, how many graduates really graduated from such program, so as for us to know the value added to that program. Mr. Speaker, students, Nigerians, our citizens, were thrown out of their schools because they could not afford the fee, out of the houses where they rent because they could not afford the rent. And even those that were targeted to be given stipends could not receive it. But annually, we sit down here, we make budgetary allocations, and this budgetary allocation did not translate to value addition, translate to the development of these people or the people from the Niger Delta area. Mr. Speaker, today, I happen to come across a newspaper which says, that is Guardian of today, Wednesday, this day of today's Wednesday, 21st of March, 2018, where it says, the front page, 9 million cash allegedly discovered in the home of ex-amnesty boss Boro. Mr. Speaker, $9 million. Well, these young chaps, these young men came here asking for their stipends. So that is to tell you that the stipends is in the house of somebody down there. He has taken it away to develop his own personal family, to the detriment of the Niger Delta and the children of Niger Delta. This is somebody again who is from that area, Mr. Speaker. I cannot see it as sabotage because this man is from the Niger Delta. So the issue is the character concern. It's not the issue of the people of Niger Delta stealing their money. I expect somebody who comes from there, knowing fully well, it's not somebody who comes from the north or any other part of Nigeria who is not aware of the problem of that area. But he comes from that place and this is what he has done. Mr. Speaker, I met the chairman of the committee concerned. I asked him, he said, yes, I am aware of something like that. But the problem is that I am looking for the backing to carry out the investigation. And I told him, and I promised him, I'm a patriotic citizen. Everywhere a Nigerian is a Nigerian. And you may be shocked. I had it even on the radio. Somebody from Borno is a member of the ex-militant. I had him on BBC one day. He's among the people who are being paid these stipends. Just so it's not the issue of an individual of Niger Delta, but somebody who is involved or somebody who has lived in Niger Delta. So it's the issue of Nigerians. And I heard him even complaining that he has not been paid his own money. So don't look at it as the issue of a particular region. Look at it as an issue of Nigeria, but the problem is happening within the Niger Delta show. So, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I call on the attention of everyone to please support and consider this motion. It is very important, and we need to change the way Nigeria is governed for good. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my dear colleagues.
Those who have not spoken before, Honorable Fred.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues. Agbedi Yejemna Frederick is my name. I represent Sagbama Kremon Federal Constituency. Izonkeme, I am from Bayelsa State, Mr. Speaker, Honorable colleagues. Mr. Speaker, this is an investigative motion, and I rise to support it as an investigative motion. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the essence of this motion is to know how well the organization was run, how productive it has been, if there are issues and challenges that needs the attention of National Assembly as well as the executive to correct. From this motion, I know that a lot of corrections will be made. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I also know that this is not the first issue about investigation as it concerns the Amnesty Office. Be that as it may, it is important at any point to ensure that activities are run transparently there and to the benefit of those for which this office was established. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I want to say that in an investigation, we don't draw conclusions when an investigative motion is on the floor. I also heard that $9 million was recovered, allegedly recovered from a former leadership of that organization. It may be correct, it may be wrong, but that or the truth of it will be brought about through this investigation if actually somebody will have the cause to cut away monies that are for a genuine purpose that is going to bring about peace in the Niger Delta onto his house as if it were his personal property. Mr. Speaker, I'm sure that this investigation is going to unveil the veracity, the truth or otherwise of this allegation. And as the papers reported, it's alleged. And so where it is alleged, the suspect is seen to not to have committed an offense until it's proved otherwise. And so, Mr. Speaker, I just want to advise that when we are defending motions like this, we should manage the language in such a way that the suspect will not appear already indicted before the investigation commences. Mr. Speaker, it is good to find out what is happening there. It is good to find out who are the contractors and what they have been doing there. It is good to find out how the managers of that organization are managing that organization. It is good to find out whether it's just the Niger Delta amnesty candidates that are benefiting, or it has been apportioned and proportioned to certain part of this country where people get contracts and then do shoddy jobs, don't even perform and cut away monies. And so this detailed investigation, I'm sure will reveal a lot of things happening in that amnesty office. And so, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to support this motion in its entirety and let the investigation be carried out and let every aspect of the investigation, including training, contracts, and everything that takes place in the amnesty office be investigated so that we know the truth and how best that place is run. I so support the motion, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues.
Honorable Daniel Reniju.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues. I am Daniel Reniju, Mr. Speaker, my colleagues. I am from Delta State. I represent Warri Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I rise to support the intent of this motion, and I have also looked at this motion to be investigative. And because this motion is investigative and because there is a lot of job to be done in it, and for us not to be seen as being judgmental before the result or the reports of the investigation comes out, I would want to say that as a parliament, these are some of the few things, or most of the things that Parliament is supposed to be keeping its eagle eyes on. And I want to commend the mover of the motion for capturing this at a time when the nation actually needs the results and the output and the outcome of the amnesty office since it was set up. This is 9 years ago. Drawing from what my honorable colleagues, Fred Ahmedi, has said. Mr. Speaker, I would want to indulge this House that this is very important and it's going to be an important investigation. As important as it would be, what we say here, the language we use may preempt certain aspects of the investigation as we move on. I therefore want to plead with Mr. Speaker that this motion should not be so debated so that we do not prejudge or indict people with the language that we use while debating this motion. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, I plead with my colleagues that this question be put and the motion be immediately, referred to the appropriate committee according to the prayers of the motion so that we can move on, Mr. Speaker. I so move. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Raji.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Wali Raji. I represent a federal constituency. I want to commend the mover of this motion that is timely. And I want to align myself with the two previous contributors to the debate on this motion. Just like has been rightly pointed out that it's an investigative motion, and we should not be preemptive, of the outcome of the investigation in the course of debating this motion. I only want to advise that we should focus. We should focus on how to build the institution of the Amnesty Commission, such as to enable it achieve the purpose of setting up this a very important commission, which was meant to bring about peace, and progress in the Niger Delta and the entire country. I therefore, while supporting this motion, I want to emphasize once again that our focus and objective should be that at the end of the day, we have a stronger institution that will block leakages, that people are presently exploiting. So, Mr. Speaker, I therefore rise to support this motion, and I urge that we put it to vote so that the committee, the relevant committee, can go about its assignment. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Shadumu.
Well, thank you, the Speaker and my colleagues. My name is Honorable Shadi Mumtio. I represent the Federal Consensus from Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, well, the motion as moved by my colleague is very timely, but rather I'm worried how motion upon motion comes to this House, resolutions are made, but without any substance result thereafter. We will recall that, honorable colleagues, we have a lot of responsibility to discharge as regards our oversight functions regarding most of these expenditures. Often you see in the budget analysis, you see performance as depicted by amount of money released, not amount of work done. And if we want to correct these anomalies, I think we need to up our game as regard oversight functions. We need to be insulated against the executive antis. I want to use this opportunity to call on my colleagues that we need to spend more time on our oversight function for us to have benefits and value for the money we appropriate for these agencies. So this will be more important than us talking from morning to night about an issue. Often we come here, we discuss issues, we discuss motions, and at the end of the result, that will be the end of the discussion. So therefore, honorable colleagues, we should insulate ourselves against the executive, and we should be ready to do more oversight function to expose most of these corruptions. And we should ensure also that our decision and resolution are complied with. That's the only time we can have resource for most of this discussion and the time we waste on discussing some of these issues. So this is my call on our colleagues, the Honorable Speaker, so that we should be very emphatic on our decision about the oversight function, and we should also ensure that compliance is made to whatever resolution we pass in this House. Ensure that executives discharge their own responsibility too. That's the only way you can enjoy this discussion and the dividend of democracy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I think we're done with the debate. I'll put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Oh, I have two amendments here. That's why I always encourage members not to come here and block me. Already gone, so who have the amendments here? Aisha Tuduku and Rotimi. I beg your pardon. Fifth order of the day is a motion calling on the Inspector General of Police to deploy police personnel to the Kina and Bassa local government areas of Kogi State and to establish a police outpost at Ogojebuju. Standing in the name of Honorable Benjamin Ikani Okolo. Honorable Okolo is now invited.
Silence, please. Please take your seats. Honorable members, please. Please take your seats. Honorable Zakari Mohammed. Zakari, please.
Thank you very much.
Honorable Dr. Salame. Dr. Salame, please.
Highly respected colleagues. Okolo Ikani Benjamin. I represent the highly esteemed people of the Kina Bassa Federal Constituency of Kogi State. Mr. Speaker, before I proceed to present this motion, I seek your permission to effect a correction on this motion, please. The correction is on the first paragraph, where there is Akakana Ayede. You should read Ike-Dewo. I-K-E-N-D-E. Ike-Dewo. I-K-E-N-D-E. Thank you. My motion is on a call on the Inspector General of Police to deploy police personnel
to the Kina and Bassa local government areas of Kogi State, and to establish a police outpost at Agojeju in Oganeni Ward. The House notes that some communities in Oganeni Ward of the Kina local government area and Ikende Ward in Bassa local government area of Kogi State have come under severe attacks in the last 18 months, leading to several deaths and destruction of property. The House is worried by the incessant killings of innocent, unarmed, defenseless farmers who are often butchered in cold blood by these well-armed herdsmen in their farms. The House is also worried that in the last 18 months, 7 communities in Oganeni Ward have been attacked by herdsmen and 55 deaths have been recorded. The House is further worried that the people of Ojuomaegi in Bassa local government and Aloko in the Kina local government have been under severe attack in the last few days, and also 12 deaths have been recorded. The House is convinced that the establishment of a police post at Agojeju will assist to curb or possibly halt further mayhem in these communities. The House therefore resolves to urge the Inspector General of Police to quickly deploy men and officers of Nigeria Police Force into the affected communities to avert further killings. 2. Further urge the Inspector General of Police to establish a police outpost at Agojeju to check the marauding herdsmen. 3. To mandate the Committee on Police Affairs to ensure compliance. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you, respected colleagues. I so move.
Second, Honorable Kinjo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Kolade, Victor Akinjo is my name. Elijah said of Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion as moved by my able colleague, Honorable Benjamin Ikani. Thanks.
Straightforward motion. I put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. 6th order of the day is a motion on need to extend the payment of occupational hazard allowances to agricultural professionals in the civil public service of the Federation. Standing in the name of Honorable Mohamed Tahir Monguno, Honorable Monguno is now invited to move the motion.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Martia Monguno, Ganzai Federal Constituency of Borno State. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my motion reads thus: need to extend the payment of occupational hazard allowances to agricultural professionals in the civil/public service of the Federation. The House notes that agriculture is the largest employer of labor in many countries, especially in Africa and Asia. Also, the House notes that agriculture, in addition to being the largest employer of labor in Nigeria, is one of the 3 most dangerous sectors in terms of occupational safety and health, the other 2 being construction and mining. The House also aware that safety and health in the Agriculture Convention held at Geneva on 5th of June 2001 defined agriculture to cover agricultural and forestry activities carried out in agricultural undertakings, including crop production, forestry activities, animal husbandry, insect raising, and agricultural installation, including any process, storage, operation, or transportation in an agricultural undertaking which are directly related to agricultural production. Concerned
that despite hazards being faced by agricultural professionals in Nigeria, they do not enjoy any form of occupational hazard allowances.
Honorable EJ, please allow the speaker to concentrate.
By their counterparts in the veterinary, livestock,
Honorable EJ,
and
please
other
allow the speaker to concentrate. Silence, please.
Conscious of the fact that agricultural officers, like their counterparts in veterinary and livestock, face a lot of hazards, which sometimes lead to incapacitation, deformity, and or death. Also aware that the nature of hazards being faced by agricultural professionals include chemical poisoning, acid spill, inhaling poisonous gases, susceptibility to attacks by wild animals, poisonous insects, reptiles, bees, and snakes, etc. Acknowledges the need to mitigate the exposure of the agricultural professionals by extending to them the benefits of occupational hazards allowances. Recalls that the agricultural professionals, through its recognized body, the Agriculture and Allied Employees, made several requests to enjoy occupational hazard allowances, but were turned down with no justifiable reason. Convinced that extending the payment of occupational hazard allowances to agricultural professionals like their counterparts in the veterinary, livestock, and other related animal health bills will spur them into putting in their best services. Resolves to urge the Secretary to the Government of the Federation to direct the National Council of Establishment to extend the payment of occupational hazard allowances to agricultural professionals in the civil public service of the Federation, mandate the Committee on Agricultural Production and Services and Labor, Employment and Productivity to monitor compliance and report back within 3 weeks for further legislative action. I so move.
Honorable Nambobi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and my very distinguished colleagues. My name is Uchuchuku Nambobi, and I represent the good people of Ahodo West and Oba Government on the Federal Constituency of River State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second this motion, ably moved by Honorable Manguno. I so second.
Honorable MT, please lead the debate.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, this motion speaks for itself. It's a very straightforward motion. But that notwithstanding, I want to add more flesh into the motion with a view to convincing this House to support the passage of this motion. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, we are all aware of the fact that the government is now preaching the gospel of diversification of the Nigerian economy away from oil to agriculture. We are also conscious of the fact that agriculture contributes about 70% to our gross domestic product. We are equally conscious of the fact that agriculture accounts for about 47% of our employment in this country. Coupled with the diversification policy that this government is preaching, and the main drivers of the sector with a view to achieving the lofty aims and objectives of the government of not only creating employment, achieving food security, and also exporting surplus and other cash crops outside the country with a view to earning the much needed foreign exchange, is the agricultural professionals that are employed in our civil/public service with a view to driving that policy to see the light of the day. And in the course of deciding this function, which is based in the rural areas where most of us here represent, they are exposed to a lot of hazards, as mentioned in the course of reading the motion. snake bite, attack by armed robbers, a lot of other hazards they are being exposed to in the course of discharging these duties. And professionals like medical doctors, like veterinary doctors, and other animal health practitioners that are also similar to those that are in the agricultural sector currently enjoy occupational hazard allowances. So, Mr. Speaker, honored members, our argument is that what is good for the goose is equally good for the gander, and therefore same occupational hazards should be extended to the people in the agricultural professionals who are saddled with the responsibility of bringing to fruition the much needed diversification of Nigerian economy away from oil to agriculture that this government is currently preaching. And by so doing, we are even giving more teeth to our commitment to the issue of diversification of the economy away from oil to agriculture. So without much ado, having given more flesh to what I have read, it is my hope and prayer that my colleagues will unanimity support this motion so that the executive arm of government will be now gingered to implement the resolution of the House. Thank you, Honorable Speaker and honorable members.
Any contributor to the debate? I'll put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Seventh order of the day is a motion on the urgent need to revitalize the cassava bread project in Nigeria, standing in the name of Honorable Emmanuel Akpan. Honorable Akpan is now invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Emmanuel Akpan, representing the wonderful people of Plenary, the same the Obuluka Federal Constituency and from Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, the motion is on the urgent need to revitalize the cassava bread project in Nigeria. They have note that in 1982, the federal government came up with a policy decision to explore the means of using cassava flour in the production of bread. Also note that the policy decision was not pursued further due to the sudden change in administration in 1983. Further note that in 2004, the federal government of Nigeria deemed it necessary to again explore the advantage of using cassava to bake bread, and this development was warmly welcomed and embraced by most Nigerians. They had worries that the cassava bread project again suffered another setback and was abandoned after a few months of introducing the product in the market.
Silence, please. Honorable members, silence.
That in 2014, the craving of government to move away from dependence on conventional flour to bake flour for baking and production of bread was vigorously campaigned, but yet again was not realized. The House is aware that bread is one of the major food items eaten by both high and low income earners in Nigeria. Also aware that the demand for bread is very high and therefore require high production level to meet the high demand for local consumption, and then for export to earn the much needed foreign exchange to boost the economy. I am also concerned that the component of bread making, like sugar and flour, are mostly imported, and the price are soaring high, thus affecting the price of bread. I would appreciate the effort by the federal government to revitalize the cassava bread project. We will save the nation foreign exchange, enhance economic diversification, reduce cost of production, thus making bread cheaper, and affordable for the vast majority of Nigerians, as well as great employment for Nigerians. The House is hereby resolved that 1. All the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Water Resources to revitalize the cassava bread policy and mandate the Committee on Agricultural Production and Services and Sustainable Development Goals to work out modalities towards reviving the cassava bread project in Nigeria and report back within 6 weeks for further legislative action. I so move the Speaker.
Seconder, Honorable Francis.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my name is Francis Charles Duyo, member representing Korabas and Barani Eastern Obula from Akwa Ibom State. I rise to second the motion as ably moved by Honorable Liman Akpan, so second.
Honorable Akpan, please lead the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Once again, my name is Honorable Liman Akpan, representing the common people of Obula, the same in federal constituency and from Akwa Ibom State. The Speaker, this motion is a very straightforward one. The motion seeks to address the urgent need to revitalize cassava bread project in Nigeria. We recall that this policy started as far back in 1982. But due to military intervention in 1983, the project was abandoned. Then in 2004, under the leadership of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, this policy came on board, was well pursued, production was undertaken, and product went into market. Again, the idea was abandoned. The Speaker, having known that bread is one of the major food items in this country, like eaten by many homes in this country. Therefore, there is need for us to revitalize cassava flour production in this country to save many homes, because the high cost of bread, the high cost of bread is so demanding, and the people of this country want and need bread at every given time. The question we ask ourselves is, why do we need cassava flour bread in this country? What do we stand to gain? The Speaker, I want to say that 1, this will save many homes, the cost of bread will come down, cottage industry will spring up, where cassava tubers will be used to produce flour for many bakeries in Nigeria. Export of Nigerian cassava flour will be encouraged. Again, foreign exchange will begin, and the production of foreign flour will be reduced by at least 50%, even though we cannot eradicate it. The cost of bread, again, will eventually reduce and more affordable by many homes. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I believe this motion is timely, and I will my colleague to support this motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Sajos.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Sergius Ose Ogun. I represent Eastern Southeast, Eastern Northeast, and I'm from Edo State. Mr. Speaker, I want to appreciate the move of this motion, Honorable Emmanuel Akpan, and just to urge that if the federal government is really serious about diversifying our economy through agriculture, I think this is something we should have embraced long ago. Mr. Speaker, I'm a fellow of the National Society of Agriculture. Sometime last year, I attended a program in Umudike, the root crop institution, research institution. And the cake they were celebrating, I think the society was celebrating the 50th anniversary or something. The cake we ate there that day was 100% cassava. 100%. Because I had recommended that to somebody who said to me that the claim is because the government had said we should use 20% or 30%. So somebody said to me that why they were not using cassava was because they said it does not stay for too long. The bread will not stay for too long. But then I raised that issue that day in that research institute, and they said there's nothing like that. So I think when the government says that we should diversify the economy through agriculture,
we are paying lip service to it. Because when this cassava bread matter was brought up some years ago, we celebrated it. And cassava is one of the commonest root crops in this country. Sometime last year or 2 years ago, the price of cassava went up in the market. Everybody went into it. And then, of course, it went down. And then farmers are running away from it. This will be a means of encouraging the farmers to plant cassava because there will be a ready market for it. And like the mover of the motion also said, it will crash the price, it will crash the price of bread in the market. See, today people are struggling to put food on their tables. And this is an opportunity to make sure the price of this staple food comes down. So I once again want to thank the mover of this motion and to urge the executive to do the needful and support the use of cassava in baking. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, Odebo Moshegun is my name. I represent the good people of Surulere Federal Constituency. Honorable Speaker, first and foremost, I want to commend the mover of this motion. And this motion, I want to call it a call for the great nation, Nigeria. In the last few years, we have been calling for people to go back to farming. Mr. Speaker, I will not deceive you. Millions of Nigerians have invested in farming right now. As I'm talking to you, the cost of production of 1 ton of cassava is even more than the selling of 1 ton of cassava as at now. And this is exactly what happened during the law of President Obasanjo when he called for people to go back to farming. And you cannot provide sustainable mechanism for them to sustain the farming after producing crop materials. No other way, no anywhere to take it to. And at the end of the day, Mr. Speaker, by the time people meet the frustration on this matter, they will withdraw. And it will now go back to the zero level again. What are we saying? This is the period for us to add value, to create market, to create where to supply, who to process, and who to take up the products. If this is not done, diversification through agriculture we are claiming honestly is zero. Mr. Speaker, I want to suggest, I want to move, if possible, to call on the Minister of Agri to come and tell us what are the mechanisms of adding value to agricultural products. What are their plans? Who will be the takeoff of the product of the farmers? Mr. Speaker, the policy of adding cassava to bread now, nobody is monitoring it, and the bakers are not even making use of it again. And we must make it a compulsory that the product we are producing in Nigeria must be used by us, otherwise we cannot sustain farming in this nation. Extend it to the bunkering of smuggling of the rice into the system. Mr. Speaker, Nigeria's security people collect money in order to allow this product to come into the system. How can we sustain production? Can we sustain this country? Mr. Speaker, it is important for us to do the needful right now. Otherwise, we are heading towards failure. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Lasso Yusuf. I represent Irepo Odun, Oloruda, Orolu Osogbo Federal Constituency. I'm from the state of Osun. I'm rising this afternoon to sneak in my contribution, not majorly because of the cassava bread but because of the fact that it touches on what the last two speakers mentioned. One of the major problems we have with our policy somersault in Nigeria is that it is not well captured, not written. We always state those policies on impulse, because by now I expect Nigeria to have a very comprehensive roadmap on policies bordering on agriculture. And specifically, we should have started with those products that we have developed core competence in producing them. In the north, as of today, we can talk about rice, we can talk about millet, we can talk about maize. But when you talk about cassava, you have to look towards the south, the totality of the south. When you talk about cocoa, you have to look at the south. When you talk about palm kernel, you have to look at the south. Mr. Speaker, as legislators, we come to the parliament to begin to, in isolation, begin to put things together that are normally supposed to be in policy paper of the executive. And that's why I say, when party or parties go to election, you come with your manifestos. Immediately you win an election, your manifestos must transform to policies of government. And those policies will eventually be looked at and see those ones that must be backed up by legislation. This is the missing link between the executive and the legislator, and the supposed, in the context now, the welfare of the people that we are constantly seeking for. If you take cassava, for example, as a farmer, it's not even the flour that is the most important thing in cassava. The most important thing in cassava is the starch, because cassava produces the cheapest source of starch. And if you take an average tablet, specifically those ones that of white color, the binding agent in any tablet at all is the starch. If you take paracetamol now, the binding agent in paracetamol is starch. And so what do I mean? Is if we have policies that are well stated in agricultural policies, then you discover that we have not even started. What Honorable Shegun Odebumi said and we didn't pay attention to is that because of rain, sun, and abundance of land, we think it is easy to use agriculture to diversify economy. We are just deceiving ourselves. It will take a lot of scientific skill, scientific innovations, technological skill acquisition, and a lot of money before you can make agriculture the centerpiece of economy. He said the cost of production of 1 ton of cassava is less than the cost of sales after production. That's what do I call it? It's so instructive to say that whoever comes up with a motion on agriculture and say we should go and produce, then coming back to the cassava flour itself. I remember some 12 years ago, I went for a training in Firo on how to produce cassava flour from cassava. There are so many militating factors against the production of flour from cassava. The cassava you are going to use to produce cassava flour must be harvested between the hour of 4:30 and 5:30 in the morning. That is compulsory. That means the milling factory must be sited very close to the farm. And so the first factor is cassava flour cannot be gotten from cassava that you will harvest in the morning, and you have to use the next 3-4 hours to transport, because fermentation will immediately start, will begin. And so if you look at that, what is the implication of that in the chain of production? It means whatever milling factory you are going to set up must be right on the farm itself. And before you can get even 1 ton of cassava flour, it will require almost like 3.5 to 4 tons of cassava tubers to show that even the cost of production of the cassava flour at the end of the day is going to be very high. And where we are talking about farmers that even struggling to do land preparation for just 1 acre, of which you cannot probably get 1 to 2 tons of cassava. So what we are saying essentially is this. Yes, on paper the motion is good. But when you sit down to begin to consider the policy that will transform all this into what we are looking for, and the input that must go in before you have the required result, you discover that between what is on paper and what you are expected to have at the end of the day, you're going to have almost like 500 times what you think is supposed to be there. So I would advise, as a farmer, a legislator, and somebody who's been in government for some time, that we should try to bridge the gap, specifically by those people who occupy position of authority at the executive level, that clear policies are necessary before we can transform whatever you want to transform from policy to the welfare of the people. And so, I support the motion for the sake of it. But what we go into turning cassava to cassava flour is so huge that it's not something that can be treated with emotion. And so I will advise people like MT, who is almost becoming an expert in agriculture now, so though a lawyer, but having been chairman of Agric in the house for some time now, is almost becoming an expert, that we should approach our Minister of Agric and let them come out with clear policies on those products that we have competence in, that we know we are good at. Nigeria is the largest producer of cassava in the world. And so it is incumbent on us if we developed a very sound policy on cassava and cassava byproducts. Same goes with other products too. Like I said in one of my contributions on the floor of this house, that in the 60s, Nigeria shared a first position probably with Cote d'Ivoire in cocoa and palm kernel production. Today we are not even reckoned with in those products, and yet we have competence in the production of those products. So it is incumbent on us now to deliberately, no nation can develop haphazardly. You have to be coherent. You have to be sure of what you are looking for, and you have to be sure of where you are starting from. Because once you are not sure of your input, you are not likely to be sure of your output. It is a computer language phrase, garbage in, garbage out. So if you put in garbage, you're going to get garbage. But if you put in quality input, then definitely you are going to have quality output. And so it is instructive, even for those of us who are aspiring to be at other level of governance, that policy is so important and it must be clear. It must be clear. There is no way it's just from it's just a mouth talk that because we are going to diversify to where? When you are going to invest billions and billions and billions and tons of money before you can get the result. And it is only in Nigeria where you are requested to come and take a bank loan at the rate of 28% interest rate. No country in the world will survive, and the cheapest source of fund, we have never even succeeded in exploiting it, and that is the capital market. That is the cheapest source of fund, and that is where people go to raise money for whatever they want to do. So, Mr. Speaker, yes, the motion is good. It is only raising other factors too that we are not paying attention to for our economy to develop, and that's why I directed part of the submission to someone like Bokuno and other people that are involved in areas that we are talking about that we want to diversify economy, specifically agriculture. Minister of Agri, we don't need to invite the minister. Let them come out with clear.
Honorable Francis.
Let them come out with a clear policy.
Honorable Francis.
We can take rice, we can take millet, we can take corn, we can take cassava, and let them come out with the clear policies of how we can transform some of these things. But it is sad. If starch is a binding agent in pharmaceutical products, and yet Nigeria is the largest producer of cassava, and yet up to today what we know about cassava is our garri and eba and tapioca. It's sad. I didn't get to know of this until sometimes in 1983 when I went to do my IT in Bicham, and I saw all this white powder thing, and I got to know it's just starch, and it's the binding agent in the fencing they were making in Bicham in those days before it became Smith Klein or whatever they call it now. So, honorable colleagues, this is my own angle, and I think these are the perspectives that foreign countries and developed countries have taken by coming out with clear policies on core competencies areas, and to make sure that even generation yet upon can pick documents on any policy and be able to follow through. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any more contribution? Put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Eighth order of the day is a motion on need to take urgent steps against sea piracy, kidnapping and other related crimes in Obia Federal Constituency, standing in the name of Honorable Sodogwa A. Festus Omoni. Honorable Festus Omoni is now invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My fellow colleagues, I am Honorable Sodagwa Festus Omoni, representing the ever peaceful and united people of Ogbia Federal Constituency. Olebi Oil Well Number 1, Bayelsa State, the glory of all lands. Mr. Speaker, I am stepping down the motion for more legislative input. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, good. So thank you, Honorable Omoni. Motion stepped down by the leave of the House. Honorable colleagues, the ninth order of the day is a consideration of a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Institute of Mining and Geosciences, JOS, to provide courses of instruction, training, and research in exploration and exploitation of minerals for national development and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the bill was committed to the Committee of the Whole on Wednesday, 21st December 2017, and now invite Honorable Solomon Mari to move for the consideration of the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My dear colleagues, Engineer Solomon Maren is my name, and I represent the very good people of Mangu Bokos Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Plateau State. Mr. Speaker, I do move that the bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Institute of Mining and Geosciences, JOS, to provide courses for instruction, training, and research in exploration and exploitation of minerals for national development and for related matters be so considered. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Seconder, Honorable Dave Matix. Dave Matix, second the motion.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Honorable Dave Matix, David Emmanuel Ombugaju, member representing the agrarian people of Akwanga, Wamba, and Asaraigon Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I move to second the motion as heavily moved by my big brother, Honorable Mari. I so move. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable colleagues, the 10th order of the day is consideration of report of the Committee on Finance on a bill for an act to amend the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission Act, Chapter R7 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, to make provisions for any revenue-generating agencies and enhance the revenue profile and remittances into the federal account to facilitate national development and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the report was laid on Thursday, 23rd November 2017. Honorable Babangida Ibrahim will move for his consideration.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Babangida Ibrahim, representing Malam Fashi, Kafur Federal Constituency. I'm from Kasada State. Mr. Speaker, I do move that the House will consider the report on the bill for an act to amend the Revenue Mobilization Allocation Fiscal Commission Act, CAF 3 Law of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to make provision for any revenue-generating agencies and enhance the revenue profile and remittances into the Federation account, to facilitate for national development and for related matters, and approve the recommendations therein. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder, Dr. Tajuddin Abbas.
Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Abbas Tajuddin. I represent Zaire Federal Constituency. I'm from Kaduna State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my honorable chair. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Empty.
Honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tahir Manguno. I represent Marte Manguno, Gaza Federal Constituency of Borno State. I hereby move that the House do resolve to a committee of the whole to consider reports.
Chairman, Rules and Business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion as moved by the acting leader of the House.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. House hereby resolves into committee of the whole to consider report. Honorable colleagues, the first report to be considered is a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Institute of Mining and Geosciences, JOS, to provide courses of instruction, training, and research in exploration and exploitation of minerals for national development and for related matters. And I invite the sponsor of the bill, Honorable Engineer Solomon Marin, to speak to the report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My dear colleagues, once more, Engineer Solomon Marin is my name, and I represent the very good people of Mangubo Federal Constituency. I am from the home of peace and tourism, Plateau State. Mr. Chairman, the report is on the bill for the establishment of the Nigerian Institute of Mining and Geosciences, JOS. It is to provide for courses of instruction, training, research in exploration and exploitation of minerals for national development and other related matters. Mr. Chairman, you will recall that the Nigerian Institute of Mining and Geosciences, JOS, has been in existence since the colonial era, and that was used by our colonial masters at that time in order to promote mining activities that they were doing in the Jos Plateau and some parts of the north. And that institution is currently in the budget of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Chairman Appropriation. Chairman Appropriation. Chairman IDP, the matters move closer.
Francis, move closer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Like I was saying, that the institute has been in existence during the colonial, was created during the colonial era, and it has been in existence since then till now. And that today, this institute is already in the budget of our country, and we appropriate money for it every year. But it is not guided by any law that will lead to even questioning of the activities of the agency if they hear. And so we feel that it is right for us to put this institution in the right perspective by giving it law so that it can properly be oversighted by the relevant committees of the House, and indeed also Nigerians can even track the activities of this institute. Today the institute, Mr. Chairman, is already operating. There is the second in the West African region. There is the only one in Ghana and this one in Jos. These are the two institutions that are running currently, and they are already offering some postgraduate programs in the fields of mining, exploration, and even the extraction of metals and of some of these minerals. And so, Mr. Chairman, I think the report is very brief and it's also very short. I appeal to my colleagues to support this bill so that it will go forward, because it is going to promote mining activities that will lead to national development, as we are all aware that the present administration is hinging on solid mineral development as part of the major areas that will bring the country out of recession. And so I think this is going to help, and it will even streamline the activities of mining generally in our country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. The report has 35 clauses. We now go ahead to pass the clauses. Clause 1, Clause 2, Clause 3, Clause 4, Clause 5, Clause 6, Clause 7, Clause 8, Clause 9, Clause 10, Clause 11, Clause 12, Clause 13, Clause 14, Clause 15, Clause 16, Clause 17, Clause 18, Clause 19, Clause 20, Clause 21, Clause 22, Clause 23, Clause 24, Clause 25, Clause 26, Clause 27, Clause 28, Clause 29, Clause 30, Clause 31, Clause 32, Clause 33, Clause 34, Clause 35. Schedule. Explanatory memorandum. Long title of the bill. The next report to be considered is that of the House Committee on Finance on an act to amend, a bill for an act to amend the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission Act, Chapter R7, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to make provisions for sanctions to punish erring revenue generating agencies, to enhance the revenue profile and remittance into the Federation account, to facilitate national development and for related matters. House Bill 542, 2016, and I invite the Chairman House Committee on Finance to speak to the report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This report has 3 amendments to the bill. The first amendment has to do with the power of the Commission. In the power of the Commission, Section 6, subsection 1 of the Commission, the existing acts provide for the power A, B, C, D, and this amendment now includes 6 subsection 1dd, which will give power to the Commission to oversight all revenue generating agencies. Then the second amendment has to do with also insertion of subsection 6A. 1, which will give the Commission power to recommend to Mr. President the removal of any head of agency who failed to remit the appropriate revenue into the Federation account, or who failed to transmit any information requested by the Commission. Subsection 6A2 also will give power or allow the Commission to transmit such recommendation to the National Assembly for the removal of any Chief Executive Officer. The other amendment has to do with interpretation. We insert the word President after member. All this amendment is to give the Commission more power to discharge its responsibility and also ensure remittances, regular, accurate remittances into the Federation account. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Before we go on to pass the clauses, I just want to ask a question. Is this amendment is it related to Federation account or consolidated account of the federal government?
You know, revenue allocation covers all the 3 tiers of government. It's Federation account.
So this report has 5 clauses. And we now go ahead to pass the clauses. Clause 1. Okay. Anyway, because you're a regular member in this committee, I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Adeyinka Ajayi. I represent the people of Moripe Felodun, Ogot. I'm from State of Osun. Mr. Chairman, it's just a matter of numbering. It's not actually substance of the matter. The amendment says the Principal Act, the Section 6 of the Principal Act is amended by inserting a new DD. It's double D. I wonder if that is the correct, if that is the intention. I assume that it will be D1, not DD. From page 2. Page 2. We are amending this section by inserting a new. That's what. Clause 1. That is clause 1. That's the first. Oh, sorry, Chairman. I'm sorry.
So when I gave you the floor, the Chairman Rules and Business was laughing because the rule was either waived or bent. But I think the presiding officer can do is use his discretion. No, but he was laughing. And whereas I have to encourage those people who stay behind in this house to pass our laws.
Yes.
It is. That's my own discretion here. Anybody that I identify as part of people who stay behind to pass our law, I will always give the floor and bend the rule for them.
Yes,
So now, Honorable Kajayi, we are now on clause 2 that seeks to amend section 6 of the Principal Act. So you cannot make your interjection.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm sorry for jumping the gun. My comments made earlier subsists. The amendment suggests that we add a new subclause to section 6 to section 6D, section C1D. By numbering it double D, it's alien to
it's alien to numbering in legislation. It should be D1, not DD. That's my observation, Chair.
Well, if it is appropriate, we can amend it to D1. The essence is not to disrupt the sequence arrangement of the bills. I will advise the lawyers to comment on this. Please, I will advise the lawyers to comment on this.
Mr. Chairman, we don't need this permission to change. We have to do it in tandem with the parliamentary practice. D Roman figure 1. He is saying, what he is saying, what Honorable Yinka Ajah is saying, is only we pass this thing because of exigency of time. Numbering is an important part of this system, so it's wrong. So it will be D Roman figure 1, but depending on what is existing in the Principal Act, depending on the numbering that exists in the Principal Act. So let me consult with the clerk. They have solved the problem. One is numbered D1, the one that is not touched, then the other one that is numbered DD will now be D Roman figure 2. So clause 2. Clause 3. Sorry, there is a mix-up. So we are on clause 3. Clause 3 carried. Clause 4. Clause 5 carried. But if you go back to page 5, they brought in their first schedule. So that schedule should be brought back to after clause 5. The paper was not properly arranged. Explanatory, so schedule is approved. Explanatory memorandum, long title of the bill. Empty.
Honorable Chairman, honorable members, I hereby move that the House be back to plenary to report progress.
Chairman, rules and business. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I rise to second the motion that the House do revert back to plenary to report progress. I so second. The House hereby reverts back to plenary to report progress. The House in the Committee of the Whole considered the report on a bill for now to establish the Nigerian Institute of Mining and Geosciences, JOS, to provide courses of instruction, training, and research in exploration and exploitation of minerals
for national development and for related matters, and approved clauses 1 to 35, the schedule, explanatory memorandum, and the long title of the bill. The House, in the Committee of the Whole, considered the report on a bill for an act to amend the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission Act, Chapter R7, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to make provisions for earning revenue generating agencies and enhance the revenue profile and remittances into the Federation account to facilitate national development and for related matters, and approved clauses 1 to 5, the schedule, explanatory memorandum, and long title of the bill. Leader, you are welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to move for the adoption of whatever the report, because it was in my absence. And I don't think it will be right for me to move for an adoption of a report that I wasn't there. But as I was doing another official assignment, I was declaring...
okay, if you feel strong, take your seat if you feel strong.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tari Munguno. I represent Marte Munguno, Ganze Federal Constituency of Borno State. I hereby move for the House to adopt the report of the Committee of the Court.
Chairman, rules and business. The same constriction that you... That was the same indictment. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion as ably moved by the acting leader of the House. I so second. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Empty. No, it's not here, so it's not sure whether we are actually adjourning. So let's
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I remain Mohamed Tari Munguno. I represent Marte Munguno, Ganze Federal Constituency of Borno State. I hereby move that the House do adjourn to tomorrow, Thursday, 22nd of March 2018 by 11 a.m. I so move.
Chairman, rules and business. Chairman, rules and business. No, you can't second adjournment. Mr. Chairman, I rise to second. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion for adjournment as ably moved by the acting leader of the House in the absence of the leader. I so second. The House hereby adjourns till tomorrow, Thursday, 22nd of March 2018, 11 a.m.